3-yard touchdown pass in overtime. Kansas City wins the game.
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch Magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios. Here's CDOT.
And welcome into The Drive. Jay Binkley, Rob Britton, Carrington, all decked out. Churchill Downs. He's there for the Kentucky Derby. Be there all weekend. He's having fun at the Derby. It's a bucket list item. That's where he went. That's where he is. Did you happen to see the picture of him on Twitter earlier? Man, he looked fantastic. Rob, did you know he was going to look that good at this Churchill Downs? Did you know he was going that dressed up?
He has been talking about his fit, as the kids say, with me for about a week and a half. He told me about the hat he's purchased. He told me about the conversation he had with the hat person. He told me about how he's got to match one hat to one outfit. He's got another outfit for today, one outfit for tomorrow.
So the straw hat's today, right? Straw hat's today and the fedora tomorrow.
He's all decked out for the event. So I knew what was coming. Our Instagram page, people were asking, what do you think it would look like? I did not answer that question because I was very aware of what was coming. Carrington has been very proud of this look for a while.
He has been. The jacket looked good. The hat was the straw hat. And I do believe today that was the preliminary hat. And then he's going straight fedora tomorrow. You think he'll have a rain jacket mixed in?
Might need it.
It looks like a lot of rain. So if you're we'll talk about the Derby later, but if you're into the Derby, which I think is fun, it's a fun event for people to watch and get behind. We've already seen a couple scratches in the Derby. We've seen one replacement. Bob Baffert's back after his suspension. Always a good idea to pick one of his horses, but you pick the mudders, the ones that have done well in the mud. That's the direction to go on that 100% as far as finding the mudders in the Kentucky Derby. But Carrington down there having fun all weekend. Josh Briscoe joins us about 2:15 or so. We'll talk Chiefs with Josh Vernier. It's a Josh day, I guess. Josh Vernier at 3 o'clock. Talking Royals that have won 9 of 10 in Baltimore for the weekend before they get the Chicago White Sox for 4. I don't know if you saw this or not, Rob. Do you know the White Sox lead Major League Baseball in having wins over 7 runs? It's a little-known stat. They don't win very often, but when they do win, it's by 7 or more runs. They lead Major League Baseball, tied with the lead for wins over 7-plus runs. So it's something to watch next weekend with the White Sox and the Royals. One thing we kind of got into yesterday a little bit, but Brian Nutt spoke. He spoke for the Kansas City Chiefs. Their draft as a whole. They put on different people. They put on the scouts one day. That was Sunday. They talked about the draft picks. The first night was Brett Veach, Andy Reid talking about it. Second night, they'll go with they went with Bradway. Talked about him. Third is the scouts, and then Ryan Nutt spoke about all the draft picks. The day after, once everything is done. He's the Chiefs Director of Player Personnel in college scouting. And he had some interesting things to say. Of course, we've seen some guys go back to college because of the nil money. Some would say that Quinn Ewers should have gone back to either Texas or hit the transfer portal and hit somewhere else because he basically passed up supposedly around $8 million, which he would have made more money still going and playing in college than he is in the NFL as a 7th-round draft pick. These are tough choices, but what's it do to NFL teams? And I thought this was interesting because the talent evaluation for NFL teams, it changes. Sometimes for the better, usually for the better, because guys are more acclimated and ready to go to the NFL. Staying in college longer, it's kind of good for a lot of these players that aren't quite ready to play in the National Football League. And then you find out about a guy. Xavier Restrepo. He led the University of Miami. He was undrafted with the Titans now. He's back with Cam Ward, who played at Miami last season. But he ran in the 4.7s and a 4.8 as far as the 40, and he killed himself in the NFL draft. He probably would have gone 2nd round or 3rd round at the latest. He's the all-time leader in catches and yards in Miami. Tough to do. Ton of good receivers have come out of the U, and he's led them all. But by running that slow 40, he cost himself rounds. But in the other aspect of it, it helped NFL teams so that way they're not surprised once he gets there. So once he gets to camp and you see, man, this guy's not very fast. We thought we draft a lemon. That's what NFL teams would have said. But because he ran it, which wasn't good for him and his stock or his agent, recommendations to run it. But this is why a lot of guys sit out. This is why I'm always cautious when guys like Austin Gentry don't run at the combine, don't run at the pro day. It's like, what are you hiding? What are you hiding? But he ran it. And he didn't have to because the tape work. They say just watch the tape, watch the film. It works. But NFL teams find out, and I think it's good because you found out this guy's kind of slow. So that way you didn't waste a draft pick on him. But it's interesting. But the college football landscape is changing so much around us. But is it affecting NFL teams? Because I remember last year Brett Veach talked about, rounds 5 beyond not being as deep in previous years. Jim Nagy at the Senior Bowl said it's tougher now to fill out kind of those rosters at the Senior Bowl because guys are staying in school. They're finding a way to stay. So much so that Jim Nagy left the Senior Bowl. He was putting the whole thing together. He's at the University of Oklahoma now as their general manager. All these teams have general managers now, both in basketball, which are funny because a lot of current NBA players are their school's, quote, assistant general managers. Max Crosby of the Raiders is basically the assistant GM at Eastern Michigan helping them out. But everything has completely changed. It's completely changed the outlook, how they look at things, and it's starting to affect the Kansas City Chiefs as well. But Ryan Nutt offered this explanation in the midst of talking about the Ashton Gelatis and the Noel Williams and all the draft picks the Chiefs made, Josh Simmons, you name it. He mentioned this on college football, and I found it interesting.
These kids do not stay at one college to develop. They're constantly transferring, right? Because of the idea of, first off, that might be more of an issue with the transfer portal than NIL itself. I'm all for players getting paid. It's when they transfer 3 times in 1 year. When are you getting developed? If you're always in the transfer portal or you're off the field or you're not in a building, that's the thing. So now you're going to get players who are going to come in and they're just less developed based on they're not staying at a program. They're not getting a year's worth of training. They're getting maybe 3-4 months of strength training because they're in the portal or they're gone or they're taking trips. But they're learning different offenses, different coaches. So they're not getting in rhythm there. I think that's the biggest difference. And then for scouting, like how do you get a good snapshot of a player's personal background and character when they've been at 3 or 4 different schools? You're going to hear a different report from like half the time. They're all going to be different. The last school to have them, it's going to be usually positive because they want their guy drafted and they're going to give you good stuff. And then you might go to the school that he just left from who's angry he left and transferred out, and it might be different. So now you got to kind of piece it together and say what's real and what isn't real. For us right now, it's just development and what kind of kid are you actually getting? Which version of this kid are you going to get?
And see, that stuff's interesting, right? Not the Chiefs. He's got several roles, director of player personnel / college scouting for the teams. But that stuff's interesting. It shows kind of the challenges that NFL teams have. And I'll say this, after looking back, at the NFL draft and the process that teams went through, it is a mixed bag. The combine is not what it used to be. Guys are skipping drills. They're cherry picking what they're good at. Back in the day, I'm saying back in the day, I'm talking like, 5 to 10 years ago, so not too far back in the day. But guys were doing everything. If you went to the combine, you were doing the 40, you were benching, you were doing the vertical, doing the broad, doing the 10-yard splits, doing the 3-cone drill. You were doing everything. Now you'll see guys maybe turn in their 40 or vertical because that's what they're good at. So they cherry pick what they're good at. But that is good for the actual NFL teams to only have some of the information and not all. That's why the top 30 visits are important. Guys can come in, do extra physicals for the teams. With the Chiefs came in, they measured Josh Simmons. At the combine, his arms measured at 33 inches. That's not good. That is not good for an offensive lineman. But Ohio State's pro day, they magically went to 34 1/8. Now, I do believe the Chiefs measured him somewhere around 34, which is good because Andy Reid has never drafted a guy 34 1/4 inch arms or less. But it's weird how these things change. The combine, Will Campbell, often seen as the best offensive lineman in this class, left tackle LSU, had 33-inch arms. Magically, they grew an inch at the LSU pro day. Jalen Milroe, the knock on him, with smaller hands that he had at the Senior Bowl, they magically grew half an inch at Alabama's pro day. So what do you believe and what not to believe? That's a tough thing. Some teams, by the way, don't even do top 30 visits. I don't think the Rams even do them. Some teams don't. They don't buy into them. But it's tough to find out and evaluate. And not only that, but now players are choosing to do the pro day instead of the combine. Okay, well, now it splits up your resources. Because, for instance, the Ohio State pro day was the same day as LSU. So clearly you can't have everybody in both places at one time. So teams are paying the money to have these guys spread it all over the country. Sometimes they run and sometimes they don't. Colorado, for instance, that had Shedeur Sanders, had Shiloh Sanders, had Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders didn't do anything at the combine. They came and shook hands, but that was it. The Big 12 had their own pro day. They had all the Big 12 teams together down in Dallas, and they did their own pro day, which was easier for NFL personnel to go. And then some teams went ahead and had their own pro day too, which they don't have to. Many teams didn't because the Big 12 pro day was essentially their pro day. Colorado had one. Shedeur didn't run. They threw some. Travis Hunter caught routes, but he didn't play defense. But they didn't run the 40. Neither one. But yet Colorado had their own pro day. See what I'm saying? I mean, it's tough to get information. What Ryan Nutt's saying is it is tough to get a true evaluation. For instance, I have no idea how it was when Josh Simmons left San Diego State. He's from that area. He played at San Diego State, hit the transfer portal. Boom, he's at Ohio State for 2 years. Now, what kind of information are you going to get from San Diego State? Because he's right. Because these guys that hit the transfer portal, which sometimes is 2 and 3 times, what kind of information are you going to get? Are they going to be like, man, this guy sucks. I'm glad he's gone. Are they going to get true evaluations? Or do you throw over all of it away and go to the new school and just go by those evaluations? It's tough. You start building a book on a guy and you're watching him for the last couple of years, then boom, he hits transfer. Where are you going to get the information? I mean, it is tougher and tougher on these NFL teams to do. Bo Perbula, they transferred quarterback, transferred from Penn State to Missouri. He'll be a quarterback at Missouri this year. He was on Penn State. But because of the transfer portal in the window, he had the blank or get off the pot. So he had to decide what to do. Put him in a bad spot. Transfer portal's got a horrible timing there at fall because you got to transfer, find a place to live, get enrolled in the school. It's tough. But James Franklin, as head coach, said, nah, you should go because Drew Aller made the decision to come back to play quarterback for Penn State. Okay, what's he going to do? He wants to play. Missouri was wanting him to come to Mizzou. Was going to give him some transfer portal or some nil money, and everything was good. But he missed the playoffs for Penn State, and he was actually an integral part of Penn State this year as a backup quarterback. Did a lot of running for him. Matter of fact, when Aller was gone, he won that Wisconsin game for him. So he was an integral part, but he didn't play in the playoffs because of the transfer portal. So Missouri took him, but James Franklin was okay with him leaving. He told him he should leave because he was looking for the player's best interest. So he would be a guy to talk to because they would give good reviews of the player. But it's not only the case whether you get good information or not. I just look at this thing, Ron, and I think, man, the NFL's in a weird spot because you're not getting accurate information on these guys. One, they don't compete in the combine or the pro days. A lot of times they cherry pick things. And then you have the Xavier Restrepos that probably cost himself rounds, and you don't blame what he did. But it's tough now to evaluate in the NFL.
I mean, not to sound callous, but isn't this their job? Like, I'm sorry to Ryan Nutt, but you got to do extra work now. I mean, the portal needs tweaking and tightening at the college level. I will always say that. But if a guy's going to play at San Diego State than Ohio State, and it takes more work and more effort for you to find the information, that's your job. Like, it is definitely going to be more difficult, and there are going to be more misses in the draft for those reasons. I also think the quality of football player is going to go up because look at a guy like Anthony Richardson. He played basically no college football. He played, 1 year as a starter? Everyone kind of thought, oh, that's a project. It won't work. Look at a guy like Bo Nix. He played 37 to 40 years of college football. Look at like Tyler Shuck. He literally has played college football since yes, these guys have played college football since the Royals won the World Series. There's a value in having a lot of college football under your belt. So I think while it is more difficult, I think there is a net positive that these guys have had a chance to see more coverages, have to play against more defenses, learn more concepts, so on and so forth. So I think the net end game is actually a win for the NFL, but you're going to miss me with scouts complaining about having to find extra game tape. Just that's your job.
It's definitely more work. It's catch-22 because, yes, they're more ready for the NFL once they get there. It's tough, though. It's tough finding the guys because Tano Passanio, remember him? They drafted him. It's probably too early. Kind of put that red shirt on him. I mean, it's tough for NFL teams to redshirt players. The 49ers have done it through the years, but it is tough to put that red shirt on players because they're expected to play right away. But now with this transfer portal, that was interesting what he said, though. That was interesting what he said because what kind of information are you getting? Because obviously when you leave, the coaching staff's kind of bitter. They're bitter you left. So they're not necessarily going to give you a great review. Then you got to rely on the new school they went to. And then you go to the combine, they're not doing half the drills. You go to the pro day, they still didn't do them. It's tougher on NFL teams. So that part is tougher on NFL teams. We'll take a time when we come back. Josh Briscoe joins me to talk all things Kansas City Chiefs. Can't wait to sit down and talk to Josh.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison
This man was a bona fide scrub.
on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This postseason, BetMGM, authorized gaming operator of the NBA, is making first field goal scorer wagers more exciting with Second Chance. What's Second Chance? Ever bet on your favorite baller to score the first field goal, only to see him dish the rock to his teammate for the easy layup? Well, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back in cash if your first field goal scorer scores second instead. That's right, simply bet on any player to score the first field goal during any playoff game. If you're right, you win, but if your pick scores second instead of first, you get your stake back in cash. Keep the hoop dreams alive this NBA playoffs, even if your bet misses. Grab the chance at getting your stake back at BetMGM, authorized gaming operator of the NBA. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Cosentino's food stores are celebrating 77 years of serving Kansas City. We're kicking things off with a family fun day at every Cosentino store this Saturday from 10 to 2. Bring the kids for face painting, balloon artists, caricatures, and tasty snacks like snow cones, popcorn, and cotton candy. Activities will vary by location. Plus, for the next 3 weeks, enjoy the hottest prices of the year in every store. It's been our family's honor to serve yours for 77 years and counting.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. Offer valid through 5/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store single line activation on qualifying plan. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Get ready for Cinco de Mayo with Total Wine & More, your cocktail central. From margaritas to cervezas and tequila, we've got everything you need for the perfect fiesta. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Subscribe to 96.5 The Fan on YouTube to watch the show from wherever you are.
Hey, welcome back, 96.5 The Fan. Jay Binkley, Rob Britton for you. Carrington Harrison at Churchill Downs, awaiting Kentucky Derby prelims in the Kentucky Derby tomorrow, all dressed up in his nice wicker hat or straw hat. Tomorrow he's in the fedora. So Carrington going to have one of those once-in-a-lifetime opportunities down at the Kentucky Derby. Royals baseball coming your way tonight. Josh Vernier's on at 5 o'clock. We'll talk to Josh Vernier in about 40 minutes as we talk Kansas City Royals as well. But now, as promised, Josh Briscoe, one of our Chiefs insiders on the line right now. What's up, Josh?
I'm doing very well, Bink. It's good to hear from you. Good to chat with you. I am a little bit sidetracked, though, because I am now on Carrington's Instagram. I had not yet seen the fit. It is unsurprisingly excellent. This is how he should host radio shows in the future, too, honestly.
No, I agree with you. And now it's on YouTube, too, so in Twitch and everything else, so people can watch it. They can see the, quote, fit.
Yeah, I think that needs to happen. Check it out, and let's try to make sure we give CDOT enough hats to work with, so it doesn't have to be the exact same one Monday through Friday. But I think he could just every day of the week have a different fit, looking like he's going for some real elite levels of money there. I think that's what this baby blue powder blue jacket is doing for me.
Well, exactly. You dress nice yourself, Josh. Hey, but tell you what, have you ever been to the Kentucky Derby, or do you want to go?
I have not been. It's one of those things that I don't have like a huge attachment to it, but I would absolutely go if someone was like, "Hey, I'm going to the Kentucky Derby and you can come. You want to go?" I'd be like, yes, absolutely.
I don't know if you studied it all and looked at horses or anything, but I've been diving into who the mudders are.
Whoa. Okay.
Well, it's gonna rain. It's gonna rain, so you gotta check out the mudders, man.
Yeah, I have no, I barely can scout football players. I can't scout horses worth a dang. So you let me know who I should be backing. I often just try to pick a nice horse with a funny name.
Well, I did talk scouting players, and we'll talk about the Chiefs draft with you here, Josh. Last segment, I was talking about something Ryan Nutt said on a Zoom call when he was basically going through all the Chiefs picks. And he talked about nil money, and he talked about the transfer portal and how it's changed scouting. I think it's pretty interesting because it is tougher to get evaluations on players when they bounce the transfer portal a couple times, because you can go back to the previous school and you may not get good information because they might hate the kid because he hit the transfer portal and left, so they're like, screw him. And then you might get exaggerated at the new place, and now guys are cherry picking what they do at the combine. Sometimes they do or don't run at the pro day. Like Austin Genty didn't even run at his pro day. He ran through the bags. But it is tougher and tougher, I think, to get good information on players. It's making mock drafts tough, Josh.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about that a little bit last segment, and it really got me thinking that it's kind of gone maybe full circle. I don't know where scouts would say it's been the hardest, but right now you can get so much information, and now you're talking about getting more information from multiple schools, that now you have to make sure you not only have enough information, but that your information is quality, and that you're able to kind of to weed out the stuff that is just the noise. And you've always had that, I'm sure your high school coach is always going to say the nicest things because he wants to see one of his players make it to the NFL level, and like you said, maybe the player leaves in the transfer portal and burns some bridges. Does that make the opinion of the former school more or less valuable? Yeah. If you leave a school and that administration still has nothing but nice things to say about you, that's even more valuable, perhaps, to say, he gave us everything he could and then went on to, let's say in this case, Ohio State, and was able to play at an even higher level. It's really fascinating, and the entire kind of information trading of all of sports right now between the college and pro levels is something that we've never seen in quite this form before, and I have no doubt that it's different. I wonder if it's harder now than it was in the 90s, when you're just like making phone calls and hoping that your 3 or 4 sources have good intel. Now you can get a hold of anybody on Instagram.
I think it's interesting. Xavier Restrepo, I think, will be a topic, and it should be a topic going forward. And agents should talk to their players about it, because here you have a receiver that probably would have gone the 2nd or 3rd round. When you lead the University of Miami in yards and catches in your career, which has had a ton of good receivers, that deserves talking about. But the 4.83 40 he ran, didn't run the combine, ran the pro day. All of a sudden, he's not even drafted. He ends up with Cam Ward at Tennessee, going to be a good spot for him. But that helped NFL teams, I think. Okay, we know this guy's slow now. But had he not run that, somebody might have thrown a second or third round pick at him. So it is kind of interesting. It hurts him, helps the teams.
Yeah, and it's funny because especially with this year's combine measurements now even being a little bit in question, right? All of the arm lengths.
Yeah, Josh Simmons, we don't know. He's 33 at the combine, 34 at the pro day, and the Chiefs measured even about that as well.
It's really wild. And again, it kind of goes back to me, the thing that is the most interesting, which is you're getting all of this information, but to your point, you're getting it from different sources that will have different things that they want you to take away from it. How do you get to the truth of it with this just absolute whirlwind of info is really, really fascinating. And it's going to be something that maybe over the next few years, we'll get a better idea of did it make life easier or harder for NFL teams? Do draft picks get on a baseline more or less successful? I don't know. I know that there are fewer players in the NBA draft this year than there have been in a very, very long time, and that's good for the college basketball game. But
100%.
But from a scout's perspective, what's life like right now in the NFL? It's got to be messy.
And Nils definitely changed things too. Who's your favorite pick now that we sit back more than a week away from the draft, week away from day 2 of the draft as we sit now? But when you think about these picks and who they got, and when you start thinking about the why'd they go out and get them, is there one that stands out to you?
The one that I was the most excited about when the name showed up on the screen was Jalen Royals, because I had kind of come to terms after they took Noel Williams at 85. But okay, well, this is just probably going to be one of those drafts where they don't take a real investment at wide receiver, because a lot of those guys, and this is still going to end up being true for Royals in some way, but you know, the first round, you expect that guy to be a real contributor. In the second round, maybe it's Rashee Rice, maybe it's Sky Moore, but you have real expectations on what they're going to do. Well, Jalen Royals ended up getting drafted closer to where Cornell Powell went, you know, kind of that developmental outside shot kind of guy. But Jalen Royals was someone I certainly expected to hear the name of on day 2. So him being the selection at 133, even while I was kind of assuming that I was not going to get my wide receiver wish this year, and while I was assuming that 133 was probably the right time to go draft a running back, when it was Jalen Royals, I was very excited. And it has been the case many times throughout this draft class. The Chiefs found good value at impact, like high value positions, and so for me, I was excited by Royals perhaps the most.
Yeah, I was glad they went offense there. It's like waiting. And yeah, Josh Simmons' offense, I get that, but it was heavy defense. Then Jalen Royals, like, okay, this is good. But here's the thing: he's got less pressure and stress on him than I think a lot of the wide receivers have been taking the last couple of years. Sky Moore, I think Rashee Rice definitely had a little bit of pressure on him to come in, show up, and shine. Xavier Worthy, not at first because Hollywood Brown was here and Rashee Rice. But then all of a sudden, when they're gone, it's like step up rookie. So he ended up having a lot of stress on him and pressure because he was a first-round pick. But Jalen will fit right into that 4th wide receiver slot for the Chiefs. It'd be perfect for him.
And this year, he might still be getting, and I think he will actually pretty definitively, I think he's going to get outsnapped by Juju Smith-Schuster in a major way. But that's okay. This is your 4th-round pick in his rookie season. Learn from Juju Smith-Schuster, and there will be injuries, and he will be forced onto the field at times.
Sure.
But really, can you be the long-term wide receiver 3 alongside Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy? And look, I mean, nothing is certain, and Rashee Rice only has 2 years left on his rookie deal. I mean, these things move very, very quickly. But I thought that was a wise investment. And I really could see how those pieces all fit together, where if you tell me even in 2026, you've got Royals on the outside with Worthy and Rice, and I don't know who your tight end is there, but those are your top 3 receivers. That's a crew that I'd be pretty excited about, I think.
And I think Kelsey coming back helped them in that regard, so they didn't have to, throw another dart at tight ends. Like that really was kind of low-key good for the Chiefs as far as the draft is concerned. I look at like Omar Norman-Lott. I think he'll be a good rotational piece. Again, the one good thing about him is good pass rushing ability. I mean, led in win rate on Pro Football Focus where he was drafted. A lot of people like that pick, even though he's a rotational pick. Gelati's interesting to me with those Karlaftis comparisons, the fact that Karlaftis was helping him even in college because Jeff Brom and Hagan, his defensive coordinator, came from Purdue that had Karlaftis, came to Louisville and had Ashton. But Noel Williams, I think, was my favorite pick because I could see him starting. I don't have any starters that you look at on this draft class, but I think that's one that can make a push to start out of this whole group.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's funny. I was thinking about this last night and chatting with somebody about like who has the biggest impact as a rookie. I think Noel Williams is a good bet there. I think my final answer would probably be Brashard Smith, their last pick, and that's just that's about the rookie learning curve at running back, the room as it is, and all of that. But so many of these picks are forward looking. Obviously, Josh Simmons could end up redshirting this entire year. We'll see. Omar Norman-Law, I think, is the idea that he's a Tershawn Wharton replacement stylistically makes sense, but I think their hope right now is that he's really going to be a Jerry Tillery replacement in 2026. Ashton Gelati is going to get a much larger role after Mike Dana and Charles Omenihu are gone after this season. Noel Williams is probably your Jalen Watson replacement. You got 2 years with Christian Fulton. So all of those picks, even the premium picks, the day 1 and day 2 picks, are, I think, relatively wise investments to try to keep not only like really good, useful players at these important positions, but also if those guys hit, and this is a really important draft because of this, if those guys hit, you don't have to go out and spend money on a CB2 or a wide receiver 3 or whoever it is that's going to be patching up your defensive line next to Chris Jones. So I think this draft class was really, really, really important. I think the Chiefs took a very forward-looking approach to it that I completely understand, but it is going to test our patience a little bit because, again, I really think Brashard Smith might be the guy that has the biggest impact as a rookie.
What did you think when you're sitting there watching the draft and you're thinking, all right, when they go in running back? I really thought it was going to be the Jeffrey Bossa pick, to be honest with you. I thought that was going to be running back. Listen, Brashard Smith is interesting because he's got low wear and tear on his body. He was a wide receiver at Miami, low wear and tear when he went. Great year he had at SMU, and was actually pretty decent when it came to the college football playoffs as well. But that 7th round, I'll say it again, thank you, Patriots. Not only did the Chiefs trade 3 times, 2 of those trades were to the Patriots. The Patriots also showed up when the Chiefs jumped up to get Trent McDuffie. So thank you, Patriots, there as well. But it's almost like you get that 7th round, you're like, all right, what are we going to do? Who's going to still be left at the end of the 7th round? Oh, we'll just take both our 7th round picks, including Mr. Relevant. We'll flip them to the Patriots, and we'll get our running back. As much as they talked all about the winner running back on this roster. And don't be surprised, there should be a running back on this roster. I'm sitting here going, all right, this is the best class of this draft. They've said it themselves. Are they going to go without getting a running back? And then it's like, okay, panic time in the 7th round. Let's go get Smith.
Yeah, I was at a point where I don't think I would have been stunned if they would have taken a running back at literally any of their picks. I would have absolutely loathed it in the 1st round.
Yes.
And really, I would not have liked it. Probably, you might have had the original pick, I guess, for Noel Williams was 95, right, before the move up. So if you told me they took a back at 95, again, I was kind of anticipating one at 133, certainly with the Jeffrey Bossa pick after that. At every one of those turns, I was like, not only kind of open to it, I was almost hoping, like, okay, well, Devin Neal and DJ Giddens, I know we're like falling in love with the local guys, but they made a lot of sense in this offense, I thought. Well, once you get to the 7th there and you are in that kind of no man's land, it felt like it just kept happening. And it was really, I think it was Brashard Smith and Martinez were kind of like the last 2 running backs on the board who I had any opinion of whatsoever, just like guys you know about. And it seemed like Martinez had some off the field stuff impacting his slide. So when they trade up and they're on the clock, I'm thinking, well, this has to be them getting ahead of the undrafted free agent pool at running back. And Brashard Smith sure would make a lot of sense. But usually you say that out loud and then they take somebody else. In that case, it was Smith, and I'm pretty content with that now. I feel a lot better, Bink, about the running back room with Brashard Smith than I would have if they were just sort of going through that UDFA pool. And I know it's a very slight distinction, but I think it's important that they got to pick their guy of that class there, pick their skill set. And I'm really excited to see what Andy Reid tries to do with this guy over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's interesting some of the guys they took when you think about the why. Like Omar Norman-Lott, clearly that win rate was popular for the Chiefs, best in the country. Gelati had more pressures than anybody in the country with 60. Noel Williams led the nation with 7 interceptions. He had a fumble return, interception return, a kickoff return. He did everything. Did Noel Williams. The funny thing is like most things you read is, well, some of them is like, oh, he's a bad tackler. But yet Dayton Brugler out there talked and raved about his tackling ability. I brought his head coach on, Kevin Wilcox, and he was raving about his tackling ability. So I like that one. But I can understand the why. And Jeffrey Bossa, that's a guy that's going to be Dave Toub on special teams, to be honest with you. And that could be a replacement for Drew Tranquill in the future. Again, green dot guy, a leader for that Oregon defense, but I can completely see the Chiefs when they look ahead. All right, who's the replacement? I think Bossa, you definitely put in there as a future replacement on defense, especially linebacker.
Yeah, and I'm saying this for myself because I have every inclination to try to, like, buy the best case scenario, right? And, like, I have to remember that I also loved Dorian O'Daniel. Like, I thought for sure he was going to be a star. So it is a projection. It's a projection at 31 overall, 32 overall. It's a projection at 156. But I thought it was fascinating that as the Chiefs in recent years, it feels like they've really had a preference for the box safety that plays like a linebacker rather than the linebacker that used to play safety. And again, Drew Tranquill's kind of the outlier in recent years there. So I think the idea that you have a guy that has done the green dot stuff that's going to make him even easier to use for Spags, I think that's really, really important. A lot of times I think you get really athletic backers who can get shot out of a cannon, but then they show up in the NFL level, and especially for a coordinator like Spagnuolo, where they need to have a pretty high level of mental understanding, not only of what they're doing, but what the offense is doing and how the rules respond, all of that stuff. So if Bossa has a little bit of that aptitude and he can bring that coverage first physicality to the linebacker room, he'd be a really nice running mate for Nick Bolton for a while. I assume, as I think pretty much everybody does at this point, again, like Mike Dana, Drew Tranquill, that class of guys that have another year that do not make sense to pay them out that year. This will be the end for both of those guys, and then I think Ashton Gelati for Dana, and then Jeffrey Bossa for Drew Tranquill will end up being the replacement if things go well. And if they don't, if you miss your evaluation, now you're spending that Drew Tranquill money in free agency to fill that hole.
And last but not least, the Chiefs' first-round pick, Josh Simmons. It's funny because I'll ask people who your favorite pick was, and I've asked people, casually, who's your favorite Chiefs pick this year? The name Simmons rarely comes up, to be honest with you, which is unusual for the first-round pick to hear that name. And, I ask different people, who's your favorite pick? I hear Noel Williams all the time. I'll hear some Jalen Royals. I'll hear some Ashton Gelati. But I don't hear Josh Simmons very often. And I think that's maybe the wait-and-see attitude for Simmons, because if he works out, hey, you got a steal, you got a great deal. But I think there's that hesitation at times for people to say, all right, that's my favorite pick, because you're not sure when you're going to see him.
When you asked me at the top, I was between Royals and Josh Simmons, and I thought, you know what? I bet we'll talk about Josh Simmons. So Royals was the most exciting one for me. But I will say, Bink, and I know where you're coming from, and I know what your last week or so must have felt like. But I think the process on Josh Simmons makes all the sense in the world. I understand, and also you think about, even if he doesn't play this year, the left tackle position is in a much better spot than it was this time last year with Jalen Moore there, as opposed to just rookie Kingsley versus Wanya Morris. Hope one of them is ready for week one. I think with Josh Simmons, the reason that the risk of it all doesn't move me now is because every draft pick has risk of some sort. Not all created equal, but risk of some sort. And as the premium of the pick goes higher and higher, the risk reward becomes more and more dangerous. But it's funny to look back at just these last 3 first-round picks the Chiefs have made. Felix Anudike-Uzomah was a risk because you were projecting him being able to string that talent jump together to another level while being a very, very young player. And he effectively redshirts as a rookie, doesn't do a whole lot last year. This year's going to be really important for him. Xavier Worthy was a risk because he got drafted at 170 pounds. And you're saying, no, we think this guy's going to be able to play 16, 17, 20 NFL games in a season and stay healthy. That was risky. There's not a lot of guys you can compare to him. Josh Simmons, his risk is obvious, right? If his knee is bad, you burnt a first-round pick. And if he looks like the guy that he was at Ohio State, even if you have to wait a year for him, you may have finally answered Patrick Mahomes' left tackle question for the long haul. So it's a risk I'm comfortable with. Trading back and then picking up that 5th rounder just to move back one spot and still getting your guy. It is good process and good maneuvering. It sucks to have to bet on medicals that we have no further details on. And we're just sitting here going, all right, I hope Rick Burkholder didn't just light a first-round pick on fire, which is kind of how Brett Veach was framing it at the time. But I really do like the pick. I totally understand the hesitation. I totally understand the underwhelming nature of a lot of these guys being picks who you don't expect much from as rookies. But I really see the long-term vision on Josh Simmons, and it's a risk I'm happy they took.
Well, the one thing about it, too, is just remember, 12 to 13 picks were first-round grades.
Right.
I mean, that was kind of consensus around the league. That was Brett Veach. And we've seen, sometimes 20 guys get first-round grades. That's why Trent McDuffie was sitting there, and all of a sudden they started to slide. That's why the Chiefs moved up and got him, because they had a first-round grade on Trent McDuffie. I understand that, and I understand when you're picking, at the end of the first round, it's sometimes tough because essentially that guy's a second-round player, to be honest with you. The patellar knee injury, and I'm not a doctor at all, but it's a tricky one, man. The NFL teams have not dealt a lot with it. So that's a real wild card as far as concerned. But I am glad they brought him in for that top 30 visit. They remeasured his arms. They grew an inch, by the way, since the combine. Yeah, Will Campbell saw that. Jalen Milroe's hands grew as well, so that's always interesting. But you always kind of look at who they played. All right, which good edge rusher they played. They played early in the season, September, they played Marshall. That's home of Mike Green. Led the nation in sacks. Okay, that's interesting. Only 2 snaps. Simmons had 2 snaps against Mike Green. That was it. So can't evaluate that either. So it made it tough in many different situations. As far as nationally is concerned, Josh, obviously there's been a lot of talk about Shedeur, and I'll get to that in a second. How about the Houston Kansas City kids? 3 local high school kids drafted by the Houston Texans. Prop to Kansas City high schools. Props to Houston Texans for taking a dart and actually not bringing these guys as undrafted free agents, but throwing draft picks, including Ursery out of Ruskin that played in Minnesota. I really liked him at offensive tackle, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about that. It's been very cool to see there be more and more kind of that attention being pointed back in this Kansas City direction as more of these guys do make it in at the NFL level. And I feel like, I know they're in the AFC, but I feel like you can throw a little mild rooting interest in Houston's general direction before playoff time and whatnot. You want to root for them to win the AFC South on the back of their Kansas City kids. I think you'd be more than justified. And
the Shedeur thing, it's not about the slide. We all know that. It's been talked about many times. It's not about the prank call either. How about the fact that his phone number was given to all these people to get the transaction reports? That his phone number, personal cell phone, went to like 2,000 people, which is interesting to me. That's the part that's got to change. He didn't have an agent. So normally it's the agent's phone number. He didn't have one because he and Shiloh used Dion. So his phone number was out there for everybody to grab. Now, Shiloh has fired Dion, and he went to Drew Rosenhaus as soon as the Buccaneers picked him up undrafted. Shedeur still is using Dion. I do find that interesting that it's no wonder the prank calls happen when 2,000 people are getting phone numbers.
Yeah, having an agent would have been a great way to avoid that.
100%.
It's kind of funny, man. Like, Lamar Jackson, on the other side of the coin, right, like represented himself through a bunch of that negotiation, got a huge deal eventually. I believe that ultimately it was either him or like someone in his family was doing the majority of that work throughout that process.
Yeah.
But the thing that Lamar Jackson was able to do there was properly evaluate his value. And that clearly did not happen out of the Sanders camp. I think it would have been totally reasonable for someone to have taken Shedeur in the 2nd or 3rd round. Teams do crazy things for the quarterbacks they fall in love with all the time. But it turned out nobody fell in love with Shedeur. And I don't know. Listen, when you're out there on the dating scene and you realize that nobody's falling in love with you, maybe look internally a little bit and try to figure out why that's happening. I don't know.
It's a great way to look at it. Josh Briscoe, one of our Chiefs contributors, 96.5. The Fan. Josh, always enjoyed it. The picks are in. Now it's time to watch the mini camps, the OTAs, and then, of course, make other knee-jerk reactions at training camp.
Yes. I cannot wait to overreact with you anytime you need a knee-jerk reaction that will be irrelevant by the next day's practice. You bring me up.
Thanks a million, buddy. Have a good weekend.
Appreciate it. You do the same.
There's Josh Briscoe right there joining us there. Interesting stuff from Josh there as far as the Chiefs draft. Josh Vernier talking Royals at 3 o'clock. That'll be fun. Plus, we'll talk about the Royals offense, some numbers that'll blow you away from the last 10 days and how good the Royals have actually been playing coming up after that. But coming up next, the Kentucky Derbies this weekend. Carrington's down there looking fantastic. Rob has drank a mint julep, I do believe, and there's video of that out on the 96.5 Instagram. So curious about Rob's reaction to the mint julep. But have you studied your mud horses? You might need to next weekend. We'll talk about that next.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
I'm Jenna Fisher. And I'm Angela Kinsey. And together we have the podcast Office Ladies. Just because we finished rewatching The Office does not mean we're going anywhere. Every Wednesday, we'll be sharing even more exclusive stories from The Office and our friendship with brand new guests. Plus, you can revisit all the Office Ladies rewatch episodes every Monday with new bonus tidbits before every episode. So follow and listen to Office Ladies on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Men, here's the truth. In the bedroom, good enough isn't really good enough, is it? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if your erectile dysfunction is making intimacy less enjoyable for you and your partner, give us a call today. Because whether your ED only happens sometimes or all the time, it's time to stop good enough and time to start really good. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. Whether it's only mild or moderate, or even if it's severe, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we have a variety of treatments and can even combine protocols, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in a long time. You could even last up to an hour or more and make sex great again for you and your partner. So make an appointment and be done with good enough. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner, right here in Kansas City. With $215 billion in business loans and over 3,700 business specialists across the nation, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Testing.
We're live from Chick-fil-A.
This is Grant.
And this is Laura.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that sweet bun.
And that chicken filet was perfectly crispy and soft at the same time.
And that Smokehouse Barbecue sauce, it's a lot of fun. And the brown sugar bacon definitely had a little bit more pizzazz. Also, the Mac, one of the all-time greats. Man, I'm getting hungry.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and our Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot, 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 and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Legacy Box is offering a 60% discount. Order yours today and take advantage of our best Mother's Day sale ever. Visit legacybox.com/value and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value for 60% off. legacybox.com/value.
This afternoon, expect rain showers with a chance of thunderstorms and a high of 66.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Our recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI will find you the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Be sure to follow The Drive on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back, 96.5 PNJ Binkley, Rob Britton. Carrington down at Churchill Downs, taking in the Kentucky Derby. Had his straw hat on today, going Fedora tomorrow. Well, interesting thing, I don't know if it's on your bucket list or not to go to the Kentucky Derby. I think it'd be great. We've already seen some scratches. Grande has been scratched from this race. We've actually seen 2 scratches in this race. Bob Baffert's Rodriguez has been scratched, but he got another horse in because it was on call. So he's got another horse in this race. Was it Beza? Is that how you say that?
I haven't heard it pronounced. I know what you're talking about.
Who's your horse? Do you have one picked yet?
Sandman.
Sandman's your pick?
9-2, Sandman. He's coming out of 17.
But is he a good mutter?
It's a great question. His mother was a mutter.
That's right. That's right. I was looking at some of these, quote, mutters, and a few of them pretty good. A few of them pretty good as far as have won in the mud before, played on or ran on a sloppy track. American Pharoah has ran on a sloppy track before. He beat Publisher on that sloppy track. There's been Cole Battles, another one he actually won on a sloppy track. He's 30-1. That's a good value bet right there, Cole Battle. His first career start, he won on a muddy track at the Delta Downs on November 28th, because it's different, man. Horses that want to go run in the rain or not, it's very different. Or you can go Bob Baffert, who's been on suspension, because this horses always win. Like, going with Bob Baffert, as I said, he's kind of like Nick Saban of horse racing, always go with his horses. But Publisher, by the way, is the son of a Triple Crown winner, American Pharoah, and Justify, American Promise, the son of Justify, who was a Triple Crown winner who beat Publisher as well. So I sometimes go with lineage, Rom. You got to go with lineage. But first of all, how'd you like that mint julep?
I have only had one in my life. It's awful. Don't drink it. I really enjoy bourbon. Like when I'm not drinking beer, I'm a bourbon man. So like a nice old fashioned.
And Kentucky's famous for bourbons.
Got to do the bourbon. I've told Carrington like a dozen times, get down there and do the bourbon trail. He told me no a dozen times. But mint and bourbon and sugar don't mix. They just don't. They are not a friendly combination. I'm not a huge mint fan, and sugary bourbon mint, no, it's not for me. No, nothing ruins a nice bourbon on the rocks like making it a mint julep.
See, why do they have to do that? Why did they run? People pay a lot of money for these drinks. People spend a ton of money for the, quote, mint juleps. I've never had one. I trust your opinion on it. I think it would run the bourbon when you had all this mint and everything else. Mint's made for ice cream, not mint juleps.
I mean, or toothpaste. I mean, just it's not a pleasant combination. If I was down there, if I was Carrington, I would have one just for the sake of, okay, I'm at Churchill Downs, you got to have one. But I would have one. Not a couple, not two, not one. But it's not an experience you look at and go, ugh, that was really, really tasty. It's a groan afterwards.
Another good one is Flying Mohawk. He's 30-1, but 2 of his 3 starts came in showery conditions. Again, this stuff matters, man. I'll never forget Henry Lake when we did a show together. He would always put money on which mutters were there because there's a big difference in running style between horses that like to get out there and run in the rain. Can you imagine winning this race for a horse? I mean, your life is made. You're not going to be glue. You're going to be on a farm. You're going to get the best oats, the best grass. You get the best everything, and you get to mate. And not that you care how much it costs, but people spend a lot of money to go out there. The mating done with Triple Crown horses, as I mentioned, a couple of these horses are sons of former Triple Crown winners. I can't think of a better gig if you're not a human being and you're a horse than to be a Triple Crown winning horse because your life is made after that.
Think you and I like the Derby?
Bringing horses. Ugh.
Is the Derby a must-watch event? Like, is it one of those things where the sports world stops to keep an eye on it? Because me and my friends will always watch. It's a big deal. The Kentucky Derby's on. I've been to Derby parties. I've thrown Derby parties. The Derby is a big deal. But
have you dressed like a jockey?
I have
You're
not.
You're too tall for that.
Way too tall. But like, I wonder if it's one of those events where people actually make a point to stop and watch, or is it just like a niche thing? And I think it's, you got to stop and watch, but do you think it's like, ooh, I got to make a point to watch it, or is it too niche for that?
I think so, especially if you have skin on the race and you've made bets, and more people are doing masters parties and everything else where they'll order the food. Believe it or not, that's actually a big ticket item. People buy the food boxes for the masters so you can have what's on the menu, because the menu at the masters is very affordable and very nice. We actually did it ourselves. My daughter actually did it by actually buying the masters stuff. I just went to Hy-Vee and got the same menu stuff and a lot more of it. But the Kentucky Derby is one of those things, and I don't care whether you're at a bar or whatever, but I think you do stop and pay attention to that one race. How many minutes does it take? A couple minutes out of your day to actually watch
maybe
the
5.
Kentucky Derby?
Maybe 5.
Yeah, there's a lot of buildup for it. There's a lot of pregame for it. That's got to be tough talking horse that long, to be quite honest with you. It's got to be tough to do. But for the actual race, I think it's kind of must watch. It doesn't take up much of your day at all. You get the alert, it's about ready to run. So you tune it on, you'll turn on the TV and watch those couple of minutes. I think it's popular, Rob, because in this society, we like things fast. We're a fast food society. We like things extremely quick. Well, the Derby comes up and it's on really quick and it's over really quick. It's actually a perfect sporting event for people to watch.
I feel like we as a sports watching society have fallen into this, and maybe I'm falling for the trappings of what people care about, which is TV ratings. But if you look at TV ratings, it feels like it's the NFL and everything else. Like when on Monday we get the alert, the Derby did blank numbers. I'm betting it does pretty good, but inevitably we'll compare that to a random NFL game and then talk down on it. I
can't compare it.
I think the Derby is a stop and watch event because it's 5 o'clock on a Saturday and it takes 5 minutes, and there is an adrenaline rush to the horses coming down the stretch, and then it's kind of over. You're right. If you have a little scratch on it, FanDuel.com, you can even make it more interesting.
Or with your family or whatever. You're sitting there having little fun bets with your family or whatever. A lot of people do the pods and whatever. This is your horse. You got racing. You may not get to choose your mutter or not unless you have real money on it and you're really betting on who the best mutters are or not. But I do think it's up there. And keep in mind, this is a great time for sports. Get the NBA playoffs roll on. The NHL playoffs have been fantastic. I don't know if you've been watching those, but those have been great. And, of course, major league teams, the Royals have got 32 games now under their belt. They've been playing extremely good, 9 of the last 10 wins. It's been fun to watch. The NFL draft was just on, so people consume that. And don't tell me you didn't. Maybe you didn't, but a lot of people did. There's over 600,000 people at the event in Green Bay, and the ratings were great. The Shador slide helped that. But to have the Kentucky Derby, I think, is important because you had the Masters a couple weeks ago, and everybody kind of tunes in on Sunday to watch the Masters. I like watching the whole thing. I think it's fun. But the Kentucky Derby, I do think, is one of those stop-and-watch type of things. To be honest with you, it's on the sports bucket list. You've been to the Super Bowl, correct? I think you have.
I haven't been to the game. I've been in a city on Radio Row where it's happening, but I've never been to the actual game.
You were at the Pro Bowl, too, weren't you, out there in Arizona?
Technically the Pro Bowl, but I didn't go to the game.
Not that you care, but, yeah, that's not exactly not. But where is the Masters on your list? Is that number one?
Masters, Rose Bowl, those are 1, 2.
So the Rose Bowl is 1, 2. Now it's a playoff, so that's even better to go there. Okay, that's 1 and 2. Super Bowl, is that still on your list or no? Or do you even care anymore?
Super Bowl's on the list for sure. I've been to a World Series game. I've been to an Orange Bowl. I've been to a BCS game. That was cool.
I've not. Have you actually been to a playoff game?
I went to a playoff game. I've been to a BCS game. I went and saw when KU played Virginia Tech. In 08. I went down there.
Okay, that's awesome.
I've never done the Final Four, which is crazy. Final Four is on the list. I've never done Omaha for the College World Series. That's also on the list. I hear that's a great time. Derby's probably on the list. Masters is on the list. Yeah, that's probably the list. I mean, I want to go across the pond and watch Chelsea, but that's a bigger to do.
Well, I've been to. I'd love to go to the college football playoffs. I think that would be outstanding, especially the finals. A Game 7 in the NHL would be crazy, but predicting that or hoping it gets to Game 7, that's a risk to be able to predict that out. But definitely there. But the Kentucky Derby is definitely one of them. Carrington's doing the right way. I mean, he's going down there. He's doing the prelims today. He's going to be there all day Saturday. Like, Carrington's doing it right. He was so excited he went and got an outfit for it. He's down there. He's looking good. He's going to have a different hat for tomorrow. But that's the way to do it. That's the way to enjoy the entire weekend. I absolutely love that. But coming up next, we'll talk some Kansas City Royals. Josh Vernia, our Royals insider, joins us.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
For the first time in a long time, I'm willing to dream that this can be a special season for the Missouri Tigers.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan.
Reiselman Nissan, the king of midsize SUVs, has the ride you've been waiting for. Shop the best selection of Rogues and Kicks in Kansas City, with payments starting at just $399 a month. Plus, every day, Reiselman salutes our first responders and heroes with special discounts. With over 160 new Nissans on the lot, your perfect ride is waiting. Visit ReiselmanNissan.com today and experience royal treatment at Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time. Reiselman Nissan. Not all vehicles may apply. See dealer or check ReiselmanNissan.com for all details.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey Bank and Cross First Bank. Together, we'll help ensure your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Together, we're building extraordinary impact in business, wealth, and community. UC Bank and CrossFirst Bank. Member FDIC.
Cosentino's food stores are celebrating 77 years of serving Kansas City. We're kicking things off with a family fun day at every Cosentino store this Saturday from 10 to 2. Bring the kids for face painting, balloon artists, caricatures, and tasty snacks like snow cones, popcorn, and cotton candy. Activities will vary by location. Plus, for the next 3 weeks, enjoy the hottest prices of the year in every store. It's been our family's honor to serve yours for 77 years and counting.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Get ready for Cinco de Mayo with Total Wine & More, your cocktail central. From margaritas to cervezas and tequila, we've got everything you need for the perfect fiesta. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Reliable backup power starts with expert installation done right the first time. Get $50 off any service with a whole home generator proposal. Schedule your consultation today at AnthonyPHCE.com.
Take me out to my TV on FanDuel Sports Network. Yeah, yeah. Royals games, announcers, and more Royals games. Did I mention they have the Royals? Stream now.
Hey, it's Cole Riggins, and this is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Royals baseball.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Three o'clock hour. Happy Friday. They say thunderstorms and rain in the area. I don't see any here. It's only Mission, Kansas, though, but I don't see any here. Jay Binkley, Rob Brenton, Carrington Harrison wearing a nice straw hat down at Churchill Downs at the Kentucky Derby. And joining us now, our longtime Royals insider, the best in the business, Mr. Josh Vernier. What's up, Josh?
If you ever wanted a sneak peek at what type of meteorologist Jay Binkley is, he just gave it to you.
Yes.
Look out the window. It ain't
Yes.
raining here. It's not going to rain anytime soon.
You know, I always thought I knew a lot about it, but Ned Yost
Oh,
took
I
me
know.
to another level.
Yeah, you would always make predictions before going out to Kauffman Stadium, and the predictions were almost always wrong. I'm glad you've retired your whatever you used
Well, it's
to
because I
consider
used
yourself.
Dusty Likens' radar a lot, and that was a terrible radar.
No, don't try to throw anybody else under the bus.
But Ned
That's
was
on you,
great.
buddy.
Ned was perfect. I learned so much about weather from Ned. He was great. And
Yeah.
he was better than the ground. Ned was better than anybody out there.
As far as yeah, and no one's come close since. You know, Mike Matheny was a guy that his attitude was it was going to be 70 and sunny every single day, and I'll wait for someone to tell me otherwise. And Matt Quatrero is not going to be bothered by the weather because the pragmatist that he is, I have no control over it, so why would I care about it?
Well, the Royals in Baltimore for 3 before coming back and playing the White Sox for 4 at home. That should excite us, but as I mentioned earlier, the White Sox do, believe it or not, have more 7+ run wins than anybody in Major League Baseball. That's a fact. Nick from the Royals tweeted this out. Yeah, believe it or not, the White Sox are like that. Either a few wins, 7+ runs. But Nick Cable put this out from the Royals PR staff. First of this last 10 games since April 20th. First in wins, first in winning percentage, first in ERA, first in opponent batting average, first in shutout wins, tied for second in batting average at .288. That might surprise some people because out of their 20 or 32 games, they have 5 games where they've scored 4 runs or more. 2 of them were the doubleheader against Colorado. 1 was yesterday where they had 8. But the batting average has been down, and people point at it. But I'll say this, it's been down across Major League Baseball, not just with the Royals.
Yeah, and when you win 9 of 10, I think
Who
you would
cares?
assume you're playing good baseball. And the baseball, for the most part this season, has not been well-rounded. And Even when you look at this little run that they're on, is it something that is sustainable? What we're seeing from this team. That to me is the question. The rotation comes into tonight's game with an ERA just a shade above 3. Can they carry the burden the way that they have over the first 30-some-odd games? I don't believe so. Last year, for as great as the rotation was, it wasn't carrying the burden like it has in the first month of the season. Vinny, Bobby, Salvi helped ease some of that burden. Not a lot, but some. They've really received no help in the first month of the season. That's how remarkable this rotation has been, as your offense has been as porous in totality, and you're still 2 games above 500. So, obviously, and we talk about this every time you talk Royals, Vinny, Bobby, Salvi, Jonathan India need to be good to very good. Regarding Salvi, you see today the Royals make a move as they call up Luke Maile, their third catcher, and they option Tyler Tolbert back to the minor league. So
I just saw that just now. That's interesting. That means Sal's probably going to get some rest behind the plate.
Yeah. Well, that tells you that they're not ready to put Salvi on the IL, but they're not close to having Salvi behind the dish. So you bring up the third catcher and you get rid of that late game pinch runner that has been so valuable for this franchise over the past decade, with Tyler Tolbert no longer out there. So, yeah, listen, still so much of the season to go. The question is what we saw in Tampa, is that the real Royals? Vinny, Bobby, Salvi, Jonathan India, yeah, that needs to be the real Royals. But can we bank on that? Are we expecting that coupled with the Mike Hell and the Drew Waters that we've seen of late? Is this offense as deep as it appeared in Tampa? If so, well, then we're right back to playoffs or bust, and we're right back to division title or bust. But, that's where this team is. That's where the questions are going into Baltimore.
Well, I guess it's funny because the Royals are tied right now for that wild card position with the A's, are right there with them. Red Sox just a half game back.
Stop.
I'm just saying, man.
What are you doing? They're 2 games above 500. Of course they're in it.
You know
Stop.
what? I'm interested in it where they sit.
No, not the wild card. Not if you're a real playoffs or bust team. You don't look at the wild card until you only can look at the wild card. The focus is the division, Bink. Come on.
I know, but I said it early on, and I still believe it. I said
then do it for the Chiefs.
I said this.
Then do it for the Chiefs. Hey, we're still in the wild card. No,
it's different with that team. You don't do that. Well, they've made the postseason every year and just missed it once with Andy Reid, and that was 14. So they have a good track record of getting there, of course, more than anybody. But the bottom line is, when you look at this team and what they're doing, what do you think lasts longer? Because I've seen where the pitchings look great in the previous years, the hitting took a while to come around, or the hitting looked great and the pitching hasn't. The batter's starting to come around with Vinny coming around and Sal. They're starting to hit the ball a little bit. And again, averages are down in Major League Baseball. But I was thinking about this. I don't see the pitching completely sliding, to be honest with you. I don't think it is what it is like right now. But when you have 2 of the top 4 in the Cy Young last year, you don't expect downfalls from them. And then, of course, can Lorenzen and Bubic keep up what they're doing? That's hard to say. I mean, that's a wild card there. But the top rotation, you expect to be good continuously. And I expect the bats to start warming up. As you get into May and June, the bats will start to warm up. But is the pitching sustainable, in your opinion?
Maybe like you're saying, maybe not to the level that it's at right now, third best in all of Major League Baseball, maybe the best group in the American League, right? Nobody in the sports logged more innings than these guys while they're putting up an ERA just above 3. They might be the best in the American League, and maybe that isn't going to stick around for all 162. It might. You can make a case last year that it was them or Seattle who had the best rotation, and I kind of disagree when you talk about Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo. Yes, I expect them to be good, but I actually do expect and did expect a slight regression from both of them coming off career years last year. Now, so far, that might not happen. They might both improve on what they did in 2024. What's most impressive to me is the improvement that we've seen out of the 4 and 5 spot in the rotation. Brady Singer and Alec Marsh were outstanding in the first half of last year. And Chris Bubic, Michael Lorenzen, Noah Cameron have been every bit as good, if not better. Is that sustainable? to get that type of production out of the number 4 and number 5 spots. That's what's going to allow this team to be the best in the American League come August and September. Chris Bubich gives me no reason to believe that he's going to slow down anytime soon. Michael Lorenzen, I wouldn't say it to his face, certainly not when you have biceps like that, but with what we've seen from him, off to a great start on a 1-year deal at $7 million. Kyle Wright's going to start his rehab assignment coming up today in Northwest Arkansas.
Stop right there for a second, Vern, with Kyle Wright, because this is kind of not a talked-about guy with the Royals. We're talking about the guy that led the league in wins a couple years ago with Atlanta. This is kind of a sneaky guy that can help this team eventually.
Well, let's hope so, and that's the point. Him, Noah Cameron, what you saw from him the other day, coupled with what you're getting out of a guy in Michael Lorenzen who's on a 1-year deal, man, you have some real options to where if the offense continues to be mired near the bottom of Major League Baseball in most offensive categories, well, maybe you can use some of that pitching depth, whether it's one of those names I just mentioned or someone down in the minor leagues even deeper. Maybe you could use some of that pitching depth to improve your offense and not solely rely on Jack Caglione to come alongside the big 4 at the top and push this team into October. No, you can go add an outfielder and bring up a Jack Caglione and allow this lineup to be, the best one put forth by a Royals team in quite a while.
What'd you think of the St. Joe Maestro, Noah Cameron? Now he's back in AAA, but you got to see him in spring training.
St. Joe Maestro.
That's
Did you
right.
Coin that?
No, just now. I haven't
pretty
used
good.
it. But anyway,
it's pretty good.
You had some walk issues, whatever. You got to see this guy in spring training. But, man, I'm telling you, man, I love this kid's confidence.
Yeah, he's a man. Yeah, I was on with Cody and Gold, and that's the thing I kept going back to. It's not going to look like a young man out there making his big league debut. He carries himself like a pro, and that was even more than just a professional effort from the 25-year-old. Again, this was a guy that impressed the organization so much. Not only do they put him on the 40-man roster, but they also, without saying it, Daniel Lynch, you're now a reliever. We have our next lefty for the rotation. Noah Cameron took that starting spot or that starting dream from Daniel Lynch. Now, they don't come out and say it, but when Daniel breaks camp with the team out of the bullpen and he earned it. Well, it's also a reflection of he's been usurped on the depth chart by Noah.
Well, the lineup just came out, Vern, and no Salvi in this lineup. It's got Fermin back at catcher for the Royals, and at first base will be Vinny. So no Sal in the lineup tonight. What's different with the Orioles this year? This year they're 12-18. Last year, after 30 games, they were 19-11. I mean, they were rolling. Yeah. Last year. Well, what do you, besides pitching, is that the end-all be-all with Baltimore?
Yeah, I was going to say, don't minimize that. Don't minimize Corbin.
I'm not, but I mean, it's a different team. Last year, they were 8 games over 500 at 30 games.
Yeah, and then they showed a very unimpressive lack of effort at the trade deadline. For as much as we've lauded that organization over the past few seasons for all of that young offensive talent, They refuse to even come close to pushing their chips all in. We haven't seen Baltimore show a bit of the aggressiveness we've seen from John Sherman and J.J. Piccolo. But, yeah, Corbin Burns was there. They brought in a Zach Eflin. But they allow Corbin Burns to leave. They don't really replace him. And now injuries have befallen that rotation. Jordan Westberg, one of their best young sluggers, has been banged up. You can't say what else besides the pitching because in baseball, as you know, Bink, it always begins with pitching. That's why the Royals are even in this thing instead of being out of the race already. The only reason why they're in it is because of the pitching.
And Cole Reagans, we probably won't see till Monday against the White Sox?
Seems that way, yeah.
Okay. Seems like he's going to be pushed back till then, which is fine. I mean, it's great to have the White Sox come in. Again, you got to take advantage of them, beat them 12 out of 13 times, which they could do. They did that last year, but you can't always predict that that's what's going to happen. You got to find a way to bully somebody else, which they've been able to do Minnesota to some extent. Are you kind of happy now with the defense lately, Vern? Because I know defense is always something you look at and you want to see because that can make a difference between a win or loss, especially playing these close games. But is the defense getting around to where you like it now?
Yeah, well, it's strange with this year's defense because I think the defense is more of a reflection of the coaching staff now because it's on the coaches to hide Jonathan India out there. Not that he's a complete butcher, but there's a standard in Kansas City when it comes to defense, and I can't remember very many teams that would put out the defender that Jonathan India is at third base, at second base, in left field. He's below average at best. So it's going to be a thing. You know, Vinny's balling out at first base. Bobby's always a stud. Mikel's a great third. Mikel's just a great defender. Two great defenders behind the dish. Kyle Isbell's, didn't get off to the type of start of the season that we would expect, but we all know about his ability. Drew Waters has been a godsend for the offense and, has allowed the corner outfield spot to not really drop off with the demotion of MJ Melendez. So, yeah, I'm more encouraged with the defense, but I think any hopes of this year's defense reminding Royals fans of those great, pristine units that we've watched over the past decade, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they've acknowledged that we'll sacrifice a little bit of defense for a possible boost offensively. And look, if Jack Caglione comes up and plays, that's only going to continue. I don't know if Royals fans will complain, but if the losses start to mount up, you look at Michael Wacha on the hill tonight. Last time he faced Baltimore, he wasn't as bad as his final line would indicate, but Jonathan India kicked the ball at third base. The bullpen gagged up a few of the inherited runners. Those things that we saw early in the season again, the difference between a team that's trying to get to 500 and a team that's trying to make the postseason. In April, the Royals looked like that ball club that would be happy with 500 as they're making mistakes defensively. The bullpen was shaky. The base running decision-making was poor. What we're seeing of late in this run where they've won 9 of 10 is they look more like a second-tier team, a team that will be unhappy if they fall short of the postseason. They're just playing a slightly better brand of baseball, but we're still looking for that consistent stretch of well-rounded baseball, not everyone saddle up the starting pitcher and allow him to lead us to a 3-0 victory.
Well, Josh Vernier comes your way at 5 o'clock. Michael Wacha on the mound for the Kansas City Royals. Game 1 against Baltimore, at Baltimore tonight. Excuse me, they played him here, but at Baltimore tonight. And last question for you, Vern. Has Max Crosby hit you up for alumni money yet?
No, man. They didn't build the stadium, but they named the football stadium in Ypsilanti after Max Crosby.
In his
I love
position.
that guy. He was born in Lapeer, Michigan.
Hey, man. They gave him it's the Max Crosby position.
Max.
Yeah, it's the Max position. He's like the assistant GM out there now.
Sure. Whatever it takes. I can't believe they still have a football program, to be quite honest.
And they do. They have great turf, too. How about that?
Yeah, it's
good
a turf.
stuff. Josh Vernier, Royals Insider, joining us, the best in the business. Thanks, Vern.
Thank you.
There you go, Josh Vernier right there. We'll take a timeout. Come back, talk some more Royals. This kind of offensive resurgence and the stats, the numbers Royals are putting up in the last 10 days, it'll make you think, is this team turning the corner? We'll discuss that next.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison, your home for the best food takes in KC.
Regular old American nachos. I don't need jalapenos with mine, just chips, cheese.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan.
FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props, and now you can make the smarter play with new performance trends. Want to see if a guy's hitting that over consistently, or maybe they've been flirting with a potential triple-double? Get the latest stats right inside the app and see who's heating up. And once the game starts, well, you can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. And if you don't already have FanDuel, it's not too late to get in on the action. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Buckle up and hang on. This This is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together, so close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts, beer, and barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time. And you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
It's the spring sales event at Rob Sight Ford, and I'm here with the man himself, Rob Sight. Rob, you already stole the spotlight. Now what are you trying to take?
Just your attention, Kevin, and maybe a few trade-ins. Now, we've got up to $14,000 off new Fords with employee pricing, plus our own dealer discount.
$14,000. That's hotter than your Sunday barbecue.
Exactly. And unlike your burgers, these deals won't dry out. We've got hard-to-find inventory, huge trade-in values, and our non-commissioned sales team makes everything so easy.
No pressure, just real help. Even I'll admit it, it's the best place in Kansas City to buy a car, and I don't hand out compliments lightly, or seconds.
That's a fact. And don't forget, we're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 reviews, and 0 grill marks.
All right, Rob, I'll give it to you, man. You're cooking up some real value over there.
Come see us at 135th and State Line, or visit robsight.com. But hurry, these deals are sizzling and inventory is moving fast.
And tell him Rob sent you. No guarantees, but he might throw in a hot dog.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Every morning, we rise and shine. Make breakfast and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
The funeral procession is on the move, 35 and 152 highway for firefighter paramedic Graham Hoffman. They're going to travel down 35, down to 435 in South Kansas City. Take the turn upwards to 71 and go through downtown, then over the river on 35 and 29, and finally ending in Gladstone for the burial. Also seeing a collision southbound 435 to southbound 35 involving two cars and one heading into downtown northbound 35 just past Penway. 3 left lanes closed there. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Vinny Pasquantino.
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
No, Vinny, it's not Carrington. He's down at Churchill Downs enjoying the Kentucky Derby this weekend. Jay Binkley, Rob Brenton with you. Rob has already had the mint julep. He tried it out. I don't think he'll be doing that again. Straight bourbon, not out of the question. What's your Friday night drink, Rob? I don't think I've ever asked you that question.
I'm a cocktail on Friday night guy. Saturdays for beers, Fridays for cocktails. So probably an old fashioned.
What is your Saturday morning? I assume is EPL.
Yep, EPL on Saturday morning or Sunday morning. So
and dark beer.
Dark beer.
You go any place for this?
Dark
or?
beer to light beer. That's how you got to do a Saturday.
I like dark beer. You a dark beer fan?
Big fan.
Okay. Do you go anywhere or do you watch at home?
I mostly watch at home nowadays.
What do you get the? What apps do you use mainly for that?
Peacock. It's on Peacock.
It's on Peacock, but they show them again on Fox Sports 1 a lot, don't they? And
no, some of them are on most are on Peacock. Some of them show up on ESPN Plus, depending on what it is. But those are the two apps you need if you're a European soccer fan.
I'm getting tired of buying apps, man. I have a few.
Well, the NFL is going to keep pushing you to more.
I know. Because right now the Chiefs are always on anyway, so it doesn't matter. You don't need them for that, but you need them for the other games. So Netflix, Amazon Prime, ESPN Plus. I've yet to dive into Peacock yet, though. I guess I need to at some point, but that's the one I know.
Baby.
I know, man, but I'm an ESPN Plus guy. They show enough Big Ten games anyway. It's the primetime game a lot of times anyway. So I don't mind, but the whole deal with the apps is getting out of hand. I prefer, to be honest with you, I still prefer cable because I can flip to the games and get there quickly. But you do need the apps; it's just kind of a pain to go to and from the apps all the time. As I mentioned, Nick Capel, who's in the Royals PR stat, put out what the Royals have done the last 10 games. If you haven't paid attention, the last 10 games been unbelievable. First in wins, obviously they've won 9 of 10. So, obviously, in the last 10 games, they'd be at the top, 9 of 10. Everybody's talking about the Mets. By the way, the Mets lost back-to-back to the Diamondbacks coming into it. But they'll be in Kansas City in July. It'll be July 11th and 12th. I think they're honoring the 2015 team that July 11th, that Friday. I think it's the Eric Hosmer bobblehead night. As well, you can honor the 2015 World Champions. It's very weird saying that was a decade ago. To be honest with you, it is weird to honor that team as one of these teams of the past, but it is. And Sal Perez still here, still doing his deal. He's out of the lineup tonight, by the way. Still on the roster, not on the IL or anything, but Fermin is behind the plate tonight. Vinny's at first base. No Salvador Perez tonight as the Royals have put out the lineup already against Baltimore tonight. Josh Vernier has your pregame Verns on Deck show coming up at 5 o'clock. They're first in ERA. Unbelievable. First in opponent average. The team's just hitting 195 against them. First in shutout wins. They've got 3. They've got 3 shutouts the last 10 games. When do you think you see that again? But they have 3 shutouts in the last 10 games. Tied for second in offensive batting average at 288. To me, out of all these numbers, they're great. I guess number 1 would be the shutouts. I think that's pretty cool. When you can shut another team out, especially a pro team, that's good stuff. Shows you where your pitching's sitting. But these batting averages, up to 288. It's been different, man. Batting averages are going down in Major League Baseball. It's not like Ichiro the other day. Yeah, I saw a stat on him. 10 at-bats, he went over 300 for the first time when he first came to the major leagues. He never dipped below 300 after that. That's incredible. That shows you how good of a hitter he is. Never dipped under 300 after 10 at-bats in the major leagues. That is insanity that he was that good for so long. But the Royals' batting average is starting to come up a little bit. Vinny starting to find himself a little bit, which helps Bobby Witt Jr. in the lineup, to be honest with you, having that kind of protection. Hopefully Jonathan India start getting on base as much and getting around. I understand why they brought in Jonathan India. It's good to see. It's great to have him at the top of the lineup. I think eventually the Royals start talking trades. How can they add more offense to this team if they need it? We don't know. Our guy's bats can start warming up. Sal Perez, you know what he can do. I mean, he's got a track record of doing it. He can do it. He's starting to do it. I mean, it's slowly coming around for Sal. Vinny is too good of a hitter to be hitting where he does. He's starting to come around a little bit. He's got 4 home runs, the most on this team at this point. So it's starting to come around. Not worried about as much. Maikel Garcia has been unbelievable player for this team hitting the ball. Drew Waters has been a great surprise coming up from Omaha and doing what he's doing. but there might be a reason for a bat. And as Vern said, pitching is a premium. And with Kyle Wright coming up, by the way, in Double-A, you've been tracking the Kyle Wright news. I don't think anybody talks about Kyle Wright, and I think they deserve to talk about this kid because this kid can be good. I know he's coming off an injury, and he missed all of last year, but he's around the team a lot, especially in the postseason. Led Major League Baseball in wins 2 years ago with the Braves. I think we're kind of forgetting how good this kid is.
I mean, he's a name to watch. He's one of those names, and this is a more of a June-July conversation. But
it is, but it's a good to bring him up, though.
If he's healthy and he can come back and they can have another arm out of him, whether it be a starter or a bullpen guy, it makes the conversation about adding a bat in July a little different. If you can survive to lose a starter on the rotation or lose a quality bullpen arm to their team, because I think we know how this works. Like, if you're going to give up a rental piece, you're probably going to get a rental piece back, like give up a rental arm for a bat. But if you're going to give up a player with a little bit of club control, you have a chance to get a player with a little bit of club control coming back. So if the Royals are in search of a bat, and I think they need one more than just for 2025, they might need one for 2026 and beyond. If they're going to make the Lucas Erceg type of trade, which is possible, you probably have to give up a player who has a little bit of club control. You're more willing to do that if a Kyle Wright is healthy and producing, if a Noah Cameron, St. Joe Maestro, I love that, if he is up and producing, like those sorts of things. It's not just, oh, look, the farm system's so good, you love the farm system. It's creating depth to make moves that improve the Major League club.
Yeah, I'm with it. Kyle Wright could definitely make a difference. I think people will be pleasantly surprised how good he is. He's World Series champion back with the Braves. He was the 5th overall selection, by the way. He played at Vanderbilt. 5th overall selection from Atlanta. Is going to be working in through the minors, getting himself back. But this kid can play, man. And with him out there as another option, and then what you saw from Noah Cameron, it all of a sudden, or Lorenzen, you make a trade with it, all of a sudden becomes easier for the Royals. And pitching is premium. That is the currency of baseball, as Dayton Moore used to call it. The currency of because 100% is to bring in a bat. But, man, with this team doing what they're doing, the bat's starting to come around. We hit May 1st. We're on, May 2nd now, starting to come around for these bats. And the Royals winning of 9 of 10, sweeping a series on the road. When everybody's talking about, they can't beat good teams and can they win on the road? Those are the two questions that are answered. Both those boxes have been checked. They go on the road and sweep. I think the Rays are still a good team. I get it. They're not maybe as good as they've been in the past. That's still a good team. Colorado, I get it. People are like, they're beating bad teams. They beat the hell out of Colorado. Everybody does. It's true. They do. Colorado sucks. But they did what you have to do, and they beat them. They swept them. Took them extra innings, one game, but then they won both games in doubleheader. But it was the right team at the right time because this team was under 500. Colorado comes in the borrow a phrase from Dusty. How you doing? When Colorado Rockies came here, the White Sox come in for 4 next week. No, they're not winning games, but when they do win, they win by 7+ runs. It has been impressive. They do lead Major League Baseball in that, so that'll be interesting. Hopefully the Royals keep them down, keep bad teams down. But the batting average will come around to me. But Kyle Wright starting to get warmed up and through the minor leagues of the Kansas City Royals, that excites me because I think this kid's going to be someone to talk about. Again, Major League wins leader a couple years ago with Atlanta. It'll be interesting to see his progression and see how they're going to use him, whether it'll be starting or we use him out of the – if he's starting, it's probably an injury, and you don't want to see that. Or he can be in the bullpen, but he can definitely do that. And by the way, Canna is the DH tonight, not Sal Perez. It's Vinny at first, Canna DH, Fermin behind the plate for the Royals. The lineup is India, Witt Jr., Vinny, Mikel, Massey, Canna, Waters, Fermin, Isbell is the starting lineup for the Royals. Michael Wacha, of course, pitching tonight. 3 games in Baltimore. Different team than you've seen in the past. They were 19-11 through 30 games last year. Much different. They sit 12-18. 7-7 at home, though. They've got that 500 record at home. The Royals now just 6-10 away. 3 of those wins coming in a row in Tampa as they swept the Rays. They've gone now to 6-10 on the road for the season as the Royals now 2 games over 500, 17-15. I know Vern doesn't want to talk about it now, but they are tied for a wild card position. So they've got themselves back into being a playoff caliber team like they are. And I do think it's going to be a 2-horse race. This division's not over either. It's going to be between Kansas City and Detroit, in my opinion. Those are the 2 teams to watch. But it's Michael Wacha tonight, 1-3 with the 3.38 against Kramer, who's 2-4 with the 7.04 ERA for Baltimore. Dean's been touched up a bit this year. At 7.04 ERA. This is good for the Royals. This is good. You got a pitcher that's been struggling. Warm those bats up. And last year was interesting in Baltimore because even though Baltimore was a good team, remember early in the season, the Royals ended up, I think, losing 2 of 3 in that series. But, man, they could have won or swept that series as it was. Those were some close games.
You mentioned it there. For me, this series is a litmus test for if the offense is turning the corner or if it was just a little pop moment against the Rays. Dean Kramer has been bad this year. His ERA is 7, and the Royals' offense has started to look better. There is no reason you shouldn't score some runs tonight. I'm not guaranteeing a win or saying it's a must-win or anything of that nature, but you should score some runs tonight. You scored 8 yesterday against likely the Rays' best pitcher, and you scored some runs in the Rocky series, and that's all fine and dandy. And
it's just 1 of 5 games or 4 runs. That was incredible.
And the stats will show that you just laid out. The last 10 games, they are better offensively, but this is a pitcher you should get to tonight. This is a ballpark that is relatively hitter-friendly. I know they've moved the walls in, then out, then back in. They've kind of messed around the walls. But generally speaking, Baltimore is a little bit hitter-friendly. You're playing a guy tonight with a bad ERA, and you just heard Vern. If you didn't, check the podcast page. He talked about how the Orioles pitching staff has not been good this year. They lost Corbin Burns, and they've just been mid. If you want to have me believe the Royals offense is turning the corner and that this is going to look like not a gangbusters top of the MLB type of offense, but just middle of the pack to match that pitching, you got to go score some runs this weekend. You can't walk away, even with the series win, and you win 2-1, 3-2, and lose 5-3. I need some runs this weekend, especially tonight against Dean Kramer. That to me is the litmus test of this offense is turning a corner, or if they've had a nice little singular moment down in Tampa.
Anyway, I did mention Kyle Wright earlier. He did go 21-5 with the 3.18 back in 2022. 3.19. He had 30 starts that year, pitched 180 innings. Of course, he was hurt that following year in 2023. Did not play last year, but he did go make some postseason trips to the Royals. He'll be playing in Double-A. He'll be with the Northwest Arkansas Naturals. He has not appeared in a major league game since September 28th of 2023. So seeing Kyle Wright come back, I think, is only better for the Royals. Better on the horizon that you got a guy like that and an arm like that coming back for the Royals. Hopefully these bats start turning around. And again, these Royals, as far as what they've been doing, second best batting average in the last 10 games, you'll take that any day because hitting's been a problem, but hitting 288, getting those runs in Tampa, that was good to see. Yes, minor league style ballpark, the 8-ball for the Yankees there, still took advantage of it. Played the Rays, swept the Rays. Rays are a decent team, to be honest with you. So also we've seen that. Yesterday, Rob and I were talking about the South Side White Sox, not the North Side, the South Side White Sox, because their City Connects say South Side on them. City Connects, we'll talk about those because I think the NFL has wanted to do that too. But the hallowed numbers, I saw where Gray Zabel called Steve Hutchinson and asked if he could wear 76, which isn't retired, which he did that just to be nice, I think. Just to honor a guy that's played in the past, because he can wear whatever number he wants. It's not retired. Now, Lawrence Taylor's is for the Giants. He said no to Micah Parsons wearing it, or to Abdul Carter wearing his number. Said no, maybe later. Got to prove yourself first. I get that. But there's certain numbers I don't think you should ever wear. Retired numbers, I get it. You don't want to see another 58 for the Chiefs. You just don't want to see it. You don't want to see someone wearing Joe Delaney. You just don't want to see it. I don't. Heck, I don't even want to see another player wear Patrick Mahomes' number in the future, to be honest with you. Don't want to see it. But do numbers really matter to you? Any hallowed numbers that you say should never be worn in Kansas City? My list is pretty small for that, Rob, to be honest with you. We've seen other 88s that Tony Gonzalez wears. Of course, you got to retire the number. If you see the Yankees, how many retired numbers they have, man, it's tough to wear a number in New York because of all the retired numbers that they have. I mean, yeah, for the Kansas City Royals, I don't want to see another number 5. That's it. It's George Brett. Don't ever want to see another number. Like Frank White's, I don't care at this point. You can wear 20 if you want to. But Brett, you stay away from. I just put it there, Rob. I know there's a lot of numbers. Doesn't mean as much to me, but George Brett's, you don't wear. Which they won't.
I mean,
They
he's
can't,
retired.
so it's retired. They can't. But
That's different to me. Like, so Joe Delaney, Derek Thomas, Dick Hauser, Frank White, George Brett, Lynn Dawson are all the retired numbers for the Chiefs and Royals. So those are automatically off limits. You can't even ask. I know that Abdul Carter asked about Lawrence Taylor's, but like,
you can ask.
It's not even worth the ad. You're probably getting a no. But are there any other numbers like Steve Hutchinson in Seattle, who's not retired?
It's not retired. Anybody
Like,
could take it. It was a nice gesture by Greg.
Are there players in Kansas City history you're like, Chiefs or Royals, you're like, I would prefer, even though it's not retired, that one not catch another person? Because I know Tony Gonzalez exited weird here, but it always makes me feel it always feels goofy to me when these, tight end 3, tight end 4, practice squad, no do nothing tight ends pop up wearing 88 in Kansas City. It's
weird.
It feels like, who was the guy last year? Peyton Hendershot was wearing 88. Stop it. You shouldn't be allowed to wear 88, Peyton Hendershot, or like, I think Ross Travis one year wore 88. I know it's not retired, but like, I don't want to call it a hallowed number, but like, why are those guys wearing 88? I think there should be more numbers like that where it's a little bit, maybe not hallowed, but an honor to be bestowed that number. Kind of like it's a soccer thing, but if you're given the number 10, that's a big deal. I think the Chiefs and Royals should have some of those type of numbers.
Well, if you die while wearing a number, I think 30, Ace's number for the Royals, that's different to me, man. If you passed away while you're still wearing the number, you don't do it. You don't do it out of respect. You just don't do it. You just don't wear that number. It'd be weird seeing somebody wear that number, don't you think? I think it'd be weird to see someone wear that number. Never been enamored by numbers. Matter of fact, if I ever got a jersey, which I haven't bought many, I'll get no numbers on the back. Like NHL ones get no numbers. Baseball, no numbers. Football, you have to because, well, it would look silly if you didn't. But I've only bought one Chiefs jersey. That was Derek Thomas. That was it. Once Derek left, that's it. No more jerseys. Derek Thomas, that was it. I was a one jersey guy when it came to the Chiefs and Derek Thomas. You know my jersey rules. They're out there. Anybody can see them. If you're over 300 pounds, don't wear a single digit. It's that simple. Just know your role. Know your size group and wear jerseys accordingly to that. But Derek Thomas, and I was done. Do you own any jerseys, Rob, or do you a numbers guy, a jersey guy at all? Because I've never seen you really wear them.
I don't really wear them. I have a few, but I mostly own them for the intent of like one day I'll frame them and kind of put them in a man cave. I have a Derek Thomas. I'll probably one day buy a Mahomes. I have a couple other jerseys that are just, designed with the intent of this is going to go into a case one day and be hung in my basement. It's not like I wear it out and about type of thing. I don't really like jerseys like that.
Was Derek bought during his play or
no,
afterwards?
It's a authenticated throwback from NFL.com.
See, I bought it when he's playing. Shows you how old am I. I actually bought it when Derek Thomas was playing, and I was like, never seen a guy play like this. My all-time favorite Chief. I was like, I'm done. And then, of course, what happened to Derek, I was like completely done with it. I was like, I'll never buy another Chiefs one again. Now, Blues I've bought. I'm bought in hockey, bought in baseball, but I don't get the numbers on back because they change all the time. I think there's certain ones you could get. I think you're pretty safe with the Bobby Witt Jr. jersey, of course, but it doesn't really fit my body style. Neither does Mahomes. He's not going around for a while. And that no one should ever wear 15 again. Retire the number. Don't retire it. Just don't wear Patrick Mahomes' number. But anyway, coming up next, saw something last night in professional sports. It's like, I hope you're not one of these people, but this is crazy. We'll talk about Minnesota hockey next.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Are you feeling tired, maybe a little foggy, or just not like yourself? Well, it could be low T. Symptoms like low energy, poor sleep, and a lack of motivation. They don't have to control your life. And at Heartland Men's Health, they specialize in treating low testosterone and helping men regain their vitality and confidence. With just a simple, quick quiz at heartlandmenshealth.com, you can find out if you're experiencing low T, and then you can book a $100 consultation. They'll run your labs, and within 30 minutes, you'll have your answers. And if you start treatment that day, then the visit is on the house. In just weeks, you'll feel more energy, get better sleep, improve workouts, and have a stronger sex drive. So don't let this hold you back. Pick up the phone. Don't wait. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com today.
Heartland Men's Health has 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Reclaim your energy and confidence today.
Cosentino's food stores are celebrating 77 years of serving Kansas City. We're kicking things off with a family fun day at every Cosentino store this Saturday from 10 to 2. Bring the kids for face painting, balloon artists, caricatures, and tasty snacks like snow cones, popcorn, and cotton candy. Activities will vary by location. Plus, for the next 3 weeks, enjoy the hottest prices of the year in every store. It's been our family's honor to serve yours for 77 years and counting.
Hey hockey fans, ready for the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs? Get in on the action throughout hockey's most exciting time of the year with BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Sign up or log in for odds boost tokens and more throughout the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. And that's not all. With BetMGM, you'll have access to countless NHL betting options, including new look same game parlays, teasers, live bets, and so much more. Follow the action and excitement of every goal and every game throughout the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs with BetMGM. Just sign up or log in today, and you'll be on your way to all the NHL action throughout the postseason. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 1 to 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
At Busey Bank and CrossFirst Bank, we're partnering together to help make your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth and partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Together, we're building extraordinary impact in business, wealth, and community. Busey Bank and CrossFirst Bank. Member FDIC.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Buying a new car might make you say things like,
I can't believe it.
Seriously, it's ours?
Is this real life? Yeah, it's real life, all right.
but what you really need to say is something that can protect your new ride.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Yep, we're here to help you choose the coverage you need. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois. This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay, things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Being at a standstill, westbound 70 in the downtown loop, also northbound 35 and 670. That whole area is very slow as well. Heads up for this funeral procession for paramedic Graham Hoffman. They are heading down 435 into South KC. They're going to turn up 71, come back through downtown and head over the river on 35, ending up in Gladstone for the funeral. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Welcome to your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back, 96.5 The Fan. Jay Binkley, Rob Britton, home of the Royals, home of the Chiefs, right here on 96.5 The Fan. Of course, Carrington Harrison down at Churchill Downs. See his picture all over X and Instagram as far as what he's wearing. Dude dressed up. Dude dressed up nice. People are wondering what Carrington would wear down there. Dude looks like he fits right in, man. He's got 2 hats, straw hat for today, fedora for tomorrow. That's what he's got going on right there. So I'm watching the NHL playoffs last night. Rob, you watch any of the playoffs in the NBA or NHL?
I'm watching the basketball. I'm not really watching the hockey.
There's been some blowouts in the NBA. We've seen 2, 50-point wins?
I mean, the Heat basically quit, but yes, we've seen some big ones.
Yes, they did quit, but we've seen some big wins in the NBA. NHL's been a lot of fun. I love watching the NHL playoffs. So I'm sitting there last night, and I have Minnesota on in Vegas. Vegas was up 3-1. Well, they were up 2-1. Then they go up 3-1. About 4 minutes left in the game, and they're panning the crowd, and they're showing all these people in jerseys, Minnesota Wild jerseys, standing up and leaving. It's like, what are you doing, man? This is way too early to leave in hockey. The way it is now, you can see goals real quick. Then 18 seconds later, boom, Minnesota scores and makes it 3-2. Well, they're already on the concourse when they hear that, or hopefully they're still in the building and come back to their seats. But they were leaving. And they didn't end up winning. Vegas ended up winning the game, but they still had a chance. They had a chance to tie it and send that to overtime really quickly. I mean, they were firing shots away left and right, and Vegas was defending them and getting them, but it could have tied the game up. And I'm like, all this money you're spending to go to the NHL playoffs, that's your team. Do you really want to be the guy that leaves the game when your team is still playing? Because there's been plenty of people that have left games in Kansas City and went for Kansas City to come back and win. I can tell you, when they were down 24-0 in Mahomes' first year as a starter to the Houston Texans, people are freaking out going, oh, no. No, the second year, down 24-0 to the Texans. People are like, down 24 points, they're not going to come back and win. And they come back and win by 20 points in that game. It's crazy. 52-32, something like that. But they left the game. But if you pay the money, aren't you sitting there watching your team till the end? I mean, it could be the finale. It could be the last time you're seeing that team this year. Guys retire often, they get traded, they move away. Your last time seeing the team. I just can't imagine spending that kind of money, buying the jersey, rocking the jersey, having primo seats, and leaving with 4 minutes left and your team's still, quote, in the game. And like I said, they scored with 18 seconds left, making it 3-2, meaning they had more shots to come back and win the game. It's not about the Minnesota Wild. It's not about the Vegas Golden Knights. It's not about any of those teams. It's about if you spend the money, you actually leaving the game if you spent the hard-earned money to go. Now, you can do whatever you want. You bought the tickets. You spent the money. You can do what you want. It's your choice. But is that really what you want to do if you have the jersey, call yourself the ultimate fan, to go leaving the game at the end? I mean, I know they have the right to do this, Rob, but does it seem a little crazy when you see it?
I've left games early. I'm not going to disparage fans. Now, I have a rule about when I leave games. Like, it has to be, a foregone conclusion my team is losing. Like, my general rule of thumb is the score difference larger than the time. That's my general rule of thumb for when I leave a game. So, like, for that Chiefs-Texans game, now, I did not go to that game, but I'll use it as an analogy. There was more than 24 minutes of football left on the clock. I don't care it's 24-0. I'm not leaving yet. But, like, I've been at Royals games where it's the bottom of the seventh. The Royals are down 8-1. Well, there's, 7 outs? There's 9 outs left. They're down by 7. Okay, once the bottom of the seventh is over and they got 6 outs left, they're down by 7. That's when I'm leaving. So that's my rule of thumb is that.
I think the wild card game was a perfect example. Royals and A's.
I also think playoff games change the calculus. Because, like, regular season game, okay, my team's getting beat, I'll walk out. But, like, I'm not going to disparage fans too much. I just have my rule of thumb is the score difference larger than the amount of time or outs left in the game, and if that's the case, I will stick it out. But if that number swings the opposite way, like, I'm not sticking out a Royals game when it's 13-1 in the bottom of the fifth. You're getting killed. I'm going home. I'm done. Like, I don't need to see this anymore. Playoff games change the calculus because of pricing and rarity, but I will leave games no problem.
Yeah, because it was early in the second quarter. There was 10:54 left of that second quarter. It was Mahomes' 2019 playoffs. They were down 24-0 quickly. Then they came storming right back. I'm sure there are some people that left that game. You'll never admit to leaving that game. Just like the wild card game. People are like, good season for the Royals. So much was hinging on that game against the A's in the wild card because they had pushed all in. The A's had pushed, Billy Beane had pushed all in that year. Then all of a sudden, the Royals, the argument, did they actually make the playoffs or not if you made the wild card? I think you do. If you're playing postseason baseball, I don't care if it's just a wild card game, whatever, it's a one game at that point. Who cares? You made it. You're in the postseason. Everybody else is sitting at home. You're in. But last night, I was kind of in shock seeing people leave that game. Especially when they came right back and scored a goal and made it 3-2 really quickly. That didn't end up winning it, didn't end up tying it, but they could have. I mean, there's a ton of shots on goal at the end of that game. Text line 913-586-7965, the J Southland Tow Service text line. I get it. Take that part of the equation. You bought the tickets. You can do what you want, so I don't want to see that. But would you leave the game? Would you leave the game or would you stay and watch your team through? Do you want to see the handshake at the end? If you lose, I mean, your players are standing around. They go and shake everybody's hand at the end of a series. If Vegas wins, they're moving on. They shake hands at the end. They get in the line and do it. You know, let grudges go by. Fights, whatever they had, they shake everybody's hand and leave. Or do you want to support your team and say, hey, we appreciated the effort this year. We appreciated you getting this far, but we don't want to leave you. But I was shocked when I saw these people in prime seats leaving with jerseys on. Again, you can do whatever you want, but are you doing that? Did you leave that Chiefs game? Because I sat here doing the post game, and I'll never forget some of those texts that we had when the Chiefs were down 24-0. Oh, they suck. Oh, my God. Got to fire Andy Reid. You wouldn't believe the nonsense that came in here. And it's always fun. Like sitting here for more than a decade doing post-game and just seeing the reaction of people. Fire Veach, fire Reid, Mahomes isn't what you think he is, blah, blah, blah. You get this all week when the teams. It's like once they did that, like you had to change your opinion. Like the Chiefs were down double digits that whole postseason. Even in the Super Bowl, the San Francisco, they were down double digits. But they came back and won. So it's like once you've seen that, is it kind of like, okay, I think the Chiefs can come back from anything. I don't care if they're down by 10 points. They can come back and win the game because they've done it. You've read that book. You've seen they've done it. They do that all the time. I just think it'd be hard. I mean, remember that game in Houston where the Royals were down there and Moose is on the edge of the dugout yelling at the players? I mean, everybody froze in their positions, wherever they were at, froze in their positions just to see if the Royals could win. That was an afternoon game. You might have been picking your kid up at school. You're driving around. You're listening to it on 610 Sports Radio at the point because you're in your car listening, and the Royals come back in Houston to win that game, end up going on winning the World Series in 2015. That was fun. But again, it's your money. Do what you want. I just can't see investing the kind of money in buying the jerseys and the seats and then walking out and leaving that game. Coming up next, Rob and I talked about the City Connects for the Kansas City Royals that they've worn the last couple of years and how teams are getting creative, including the Chicago White Sox that are wearing Chicago Bulls City Connects. Well, the NFL is thinking about doing something as well. Will this work or not?
Hey, it's Cole Reagans from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Being at a standstill, westbound 70 in the downtown loop, also northbound 35 and 670. That whole area is very slow as well. Heads up for this funeral procession for paramedic Graham Hoffman. They're heading down 435 into South KC. They're going to turn up 71, come back through downtown and head over the river on 35, ending up in Gladstone for the funeral. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Cosentino's food stores are celebrating 77 years of serving Kansas City. We're kicking things off with a family fun day at every Cosentino store this Saturday from 10 to 2. Bring the kids for face painting, balloon artists, caricatures, and tasty snacks like snow cones, popcorn, and cotton candy. Activities will vary by location. Plus, for the next 3 weeks, enjoy the hottest prices of the year in every store. It's been our family's honor to serve yours for 77 years and counting.
Royals coverage sponsored by Park & Go, the best deals on airport parking.
Step up to the plate and hit a home run with Casey's best airport parking. It's Park & Go. Great service, low price, zero hassle, open 24/7, and all spots are covered. Don't get caught looking. Strike three. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner, right here in Kansas City. With $215 billion in business loans and over 3,700 business specialists across the nation, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
College holds a mythic place in American culture, but there are stories you won't hear on the campus tours.
The higher-ups are concerned about one thing, and that is avoiding scandal.
I'm Margot Gray. On the new podcast, Campus Files, we cover everything from rigged admissions to the drama of Greek life and student protests. Listen to and follow Campus Files, an Odyssey original podcast. Available now on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Worried about your battery and the heat? We get it. You don't want to get stranded somewhere with a car that feels like an oven. We've got you covered at AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Our free battery testing and charging service can help. And if you need a battery, we'll help you find a new one, no problem. Power through with free battery testing and charging at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Brought to you by MVP. Only $39 for an AC tune-up. Book now at themvpkc.com. MVP Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electric is your home's MVP this spring and summer. Get a summer AC tune-up for just $39 and avoid costly repairs. 913-214-1212 or visit themvpkc.com. MVP. One call does it all.
Hang out with Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Welcome back to the Drive, 4 o'clock hour. Josh Fernier comes your way with Burns on Deck show at 5 o'clock. Royals in Baltimore tonight for 3. Michael Walker on the mound for the Royals, who've won 9 of their last 10 games. They'll come back home and have the White Sox at the Cave for 4. Jay Binkley, Rob Britton, Carrington Harrison all dudded up at Churchill Downs going to Kentucky Derby. Crossing that off his list this weekend. Also, you got Cody and Gold, the road trip down to Springfield to watch Caglione. And Carter Jensen, Park Hill. Go see some local kids, too. See Northwest Arkansas Naturals. They wanted 150 originally. They've got over 215 now. I think they're like 220 now as far as tickets and T-shirts to go down and watch that game. It's incredible how many people want to go down and watch it, and I think it's awesome. People go down there, have some beers, some hot dogs, enjoy minor league baseball in Springfield, which is a great town. So hopefully they'll have a lot of fun down there. Rob, we talked about the briefly your opinions on City Connects in Major League Baseball. Home run or not? Should they do them or not? I know they're selling some. They're making some money. Yay or nay?
I mean, I'm generally a yay. I mean, I think it's a case-by-case basis, but generally speaking, I like the Padres ones. I like the Royals ones. I would say the majority of them I'm a fan of, so I would be a yay.
So you actually like the Padres ones?
Yes, the Padres ones.
I'd put them at the bottom of the list.
Oh, the Blink-182 ones are so good.
Yeah, if you
No, the
don't-
bottom of the list is Detroit. Detroit's is the bottom of the list. I forget what it says across the front, but it's they were against the Royals on Friday night. That one series in Detroit, it's bad. That's the worst one.
It's the south side on the White Sox at this point. We'll get to them in a second. In Seattle, it's the black pants, the blue jersey. I actually think it's pretty neat. By the way, the Royals are having a future night, Back to the Future night with Seattle again. This is the only team they've ever done it. Remember the futuristic jerseys the Royals wore? They'll be doing that later this summer in Seattle. They choose the Mariners to do that with, and they both do it. Ken Griffey's always been part of it with his jerseys. Royals are keeping the same futuristic jerseys, so we'll see how that goes later this season. But on Friday nights, ever since they won the World Series, the next couple years after that, they wore the gold on Friday night. Because typically teams that win the World Series, they wear gold on Friday night the next year. Like the Dodgers this year, Friday night at home games, they'll wear gold. Because that. Then the City Connects start to come out. I like the Royals the best, not just because I'm in Kansas City. I think the City Connects are actually really, really cool that they wear. And some teams, they're terrible. They try too hard. The try too hard hats on from Nike, trying to make these jerseys connect with the city. Don't buy it. Pittsburgh with the PGH, not buying it. New York Mets that are kind of a gray purple combo. They have George Washington Bridge, I think, on it. Not a fan of the bridge on the helmet. Doesn't look good. Don't like it. City Connect, Kansas City, 100% for. Now, Chicago this year, they will. I don't know when they're doing it, Rob, but they are doing the Bulls throwback. It'll still say Chicago, but it'll be blue, the Bulls, black and red, signifying Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. Yay or nay on that?
I don't like that.
Yeah, because they suck. I mean, that's a bad tribute to the Bulls that were good.
I think mostly because I don't like when jerseys have opposing teams' color scheme. Like one of the reasons I like the Padres one is there's no team in the NL West that's like pink and lime green and that color scheme. It's unique to them, the Padres. But like red and black is, I mean, that's the Guardians color scheme basically. I mean, that's a portion of the Twins color scheme. The fact that the Bulls jersey is basically a White Sox jersey with opposing team colors on it is goofy to me. It's not the actual honoring the Bulls. I don't like when you get weird with, mixing and matching. Like KU would never have a purple jersey just for the sake of it. K-State would never have like, oh, we're going to bring some red out. I think it's dumb Iowa State has an all black jersey. Like that's your rival's color. Why are you doing that?
And the one thing is too with the Royals, it looks good. Because Saturday they made the decision. Saturday home games with powder blue pants, powder blue top, and the batting practice hat, which is the white hat, Royals crown on it, and the light blue back. That's their batting practice hat, but they're also wearing that on Saturdays. And every once in a while they will wear that on the road. They've done it before. They wore it in Milwaukee on their opening day. I think they wear it just if it's a special occasion. Then normally they'll wear the gray jerseys, say Kansas City across, which, by the way, is a very good look. And then they'll have the all-blue one that they'll sometimes wear on Sunday on the road or when it's a day game on the road. But for the most part, they're pretty consistent. But they don't wear the home ones very often when you get the City Connects on Friday and then the powder blues on Saturday. So Monday through Thursday, better hope a home game, they'll wear the white for the Royals, the traditional white that is so iconic in this city. But the Bulls ones, here's the thing. If you're going to do that, have the Cubs wear them. At least have a good team wearing them. Because it's almost comical to have the White Sox wearing anything Chicago Bulls. Sorry, if they suck as bad as they do, they shouldn't have anything to do with the Chicago Bulls. That's just my opinion. Well, Rob forwarded me this from the NFL. Uniswag put this out on X. The NFL is introducing, quote, rivalries uniforms. Its own take on City Edition, City Connect designs, because Nike does Major League uniforms as well. It says the NFL is launching its biggest uniform update since Color Rush with the new Rivalries program. Debuting in 2025, inspired by each team's local community, the Nike-led concept will roll out over 4 years, similar to MLB and NBA's alternate uniform series. So it is not the AFC West this year. It is not the AFC West. You will not be seeing that this year. That'll be in the future. Now, they're calling it rivalries. And I don't know if that's just a cute name, but they did kind of have the rivalries. For instance, they had the Bills and the Dolphins called the rivals. So they have like a Chiefs Raiders, some kind of combo. I hope not. But a City Connect, for the Chiefs, like, what would you put on that? I mean, I'm curious. I've seen some AI designs from it, like what you do as far as, like, you're not doing Royals theme, I don't think, on Chiefs jerseys. I don't think you're going the blue and white for them. But City Connect for Kansas City, what would you, bunch of fountains? I mean, the barbecue's played out, man. You can't be doing that. And don't dare put the Yellow Brick Road on it because they play in Missouri. I don't know. What
for now.
For now. Well, for now.
What if
but when these come out, they'll be still Missouri.
Probably. Because it's a 4-year swing. It starts in 25, so 25, 26, 27, 28. That's one of the windows. I don't know, man. I'm terrified that they're going to screw this up. Because what is the thing synonymous with Kansas City? Other than barbecue, which you really can't build into a jersey concept, it's fountains.
Yeah.
Fountains are inherently not a red or gold item. They're blue. And I do not want the Chiefs wearing a special blue jersey. So I'm fearful of what this will be because they are connected to the community the team is in.
You get the Skyline or Union Station.
Maybe, but there are teams in the NBA that do that. Like the Warriors have the city, Cleveland has the land. So maybe that's the way they do it. But I think there's a non-zero chance whatever this Nike thing is for whatever year the Chiefs get. And this year it's going to be the AFC East and the NFC West. So we'll have a chance to kind of see some of the concepts of the upcoming season. I think there's a chance they screw this thing up, and there's a game where the Chiefs are wearing goofy-looking jerseys that Nike inspired because it's not like Nike bats 1,000. Nike does a really good job, but they were also the people that gave us the color rush and all sorts of bad stuff.
Well, those horrible uniforms in baseball where people could see through the pants. That was bad.
Remember those combat jerseys that college football used to wear where Mizzou wore like gray for a while? That anthracite, I think, was the term they used. Like, I'm leery of the community-inspired Chiefs jersey looking good. Because when I think of the community, the thing that connects to a jersey is similar to what the Royals do with fountains.
Which, by the way, they hit a home run with that.
Perfect. I mean, but it fits their color scheme. It's not going to work that way for the Chiefs. Like, there's no such. I mean, I know they dyed the fountains red, but no one is synonymous with red and fountains.
No, it is concerning. But the 2025 season, the first batch of teams that'll get these are AFC East and NFC West, like you said. Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, Seahawks, Cards, Rams, and 49ers will have the, quote, rivalries jerseys in 2025. I'm assuming just one game.
I imagine similar to the Color Rush.
Like, I'm assuming they'd want a primetime game for it.
Maybe this is what they'll do when they start playing. Everyone has an international game.
In 2026, the AFC South and NFC North will debut their threads. The NFC East and the AFC West will follow in 2027.
So in 2 years.
So you've got the 25 season, then the 26 season, and then boom, the Kansas City Chiefs in 2027. The AFC North and NFC South will round it out in 2028. They'll wear those. I'm just curious what the Chiefs would look like. I mean, you got to keep the color. There's only a few things you can do, man. Hey, I'm all for the Chiefs wearing black matted helmets or whatever. I loved when they wore the Dallas Texans. As I was actually good with that. But I do like their color scheme being simple. Do you have a favorite combination they wear, Rob?
All white.
You like the all white?
The all white's the best look they have.
I would agree with that. But it's great when you're playing outdoors in it.
If I was
and you're getting grassy and everything else, grass stains, that's the good white and white.
If I were to rank the Chiefs' looks, number 1 is white on white. Number 2 is red on white. Number 3 is white on red. And number 4 is the Chiefs don't play that week. And then number 5 is the red on red.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the red on red. I did like the gray face mask, though. Did you like that?
Oh, for the Vikings game?
I thought that was a good look.
Very subtle, but I liked it.
I liked it, too. But I am curious what they're going to do. What would you do? I mean, obviously, I guess you can put barbecue on there if you want. I don't know where you'd put it. Maybe a patch on the side or something. I just don't see how you can do City Connects.
Someone on the text line has a really good idea. So
what's that?
The Nuggets City Connect as basketball says 5280 for the elevation. You could do something with 142 decibels. There's something to be done there. Or like an 816 913 crossover. There's some, you got to think off the wall. I don't think you can take the layup, but it's possible to do something unique. But I do have concerns about them nailing this look in 27.
Did you see the Rockies actually went with 2 City Connects for that bad baseball team? They had the one that was green and white. It said Colorado across the front. They've switched it now, and they have the purple and blue. So it's a weird look. The green and white, I just haven't been a fan of it. They've actually switched their City Connects, which is weird. But for the White Sox to wear the Bulls, that's not cool. Would you want to see the Royals wearing Chiefs colors?
No.
No. I don't think you would. But would the Chiefs wear Royals colors? No, I don't think so. Will they put barbecue on it? I hope not. Fountains, again, where? Skyline, you could maybe do on the back of the helmet, I guess. Not a fan of that. Just like that stupid-looking bridge on the Mets helmets. I don't know. I don't know what you can really do with the Chiefs. It's kind of cool how they are what they are, although I would definitely go with the black jersey and black matted helmet, but they don't want to do that, so that's cool. Just keep the same colors because there was something to be said. But Notre Dame has changed all the time now. They're willing to change all the time. Penn State, I love those uniforms, home and road, who they are. Alabama, same numbers on the side of the helmet. Love that. Nebraska's even changed as well, and I just like the traditional Nebraska uniform. I think there's something about that. So anyway, coming up next, though, rookie pressure. I already talked to Briscoe a little bit about this as far as Jalen Royals. Will there be any pressure on him at all? I think there will be some rookie pressure with this team. That's next.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
Cosentino's food stores are celebrating 77 years of serving Kansas City. We're kicking things off with a family fun day at every Cosentino store this Saturday from 10 to 2. Bring the kids for face painting, balloon artists, caricatures, and tasty snacks like snow cones, popcorn, and cotton candy. Activities will vary by location. Plus, for the next 3 weeks, enjoy the hottest prices of the year in every store. It's been our family's honor to serve yours for 77 years and counting.
At Shane Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know. That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This postseason, BetMGM, authorized gaming operator of the NBA, is making first field goal scorer wagers more exciting with Second Chance. What's Second Chance? Ever bet on your favorite baller to score the first field goal, only to see him dish the rock to his teammate for the easy layup? Well, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back in cash if your first field goal scorer scores second instead. That's right, simply bet on any player to score the first field goal during any playoff game. If you're right, you win, but if your pick scores second instead of first, you get your stake back in cash. Keep the hoop dreams alive this NBA playoffs, even if your bet misses. Grab the chance at getting your stake back at BetMGM, authorized gaming operator of the NBA. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
DQ presents How to Hit Summer's Sweet Spot. The new DQ Summer Blizzard Treat menu is here. And as the official treat of MLB, we're swinging big with our fan favorite S'mores Blizzard Treat. Plus, new mixing bowl mashup with brownie batter and chocolate chip cookie dough. And even more in our Stack Summer lineup. Hurry in today because nothing says summer like baseball and our new Summer Blizzard Treat menu. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 5/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store single line activation on qualifying plan. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-251-5642. 800-251-5642. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-251-5642.
Tonight, expect showers and thunderstorms followed by partly cloudy skies with a low of 45.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Our recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI will find you the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Rob Site Ford. Non-commissioned staff, low prices, best trade-ins, and the biggest selection. Visit robsite.com.
When it comes to buying a car, simple wins. Rob Site Ford has the inventory, the trade values, and the non-commissioned team that puts you first. No pressure, just 4.8 stars on Google for a reason. ROBSIGHT.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Some rain on the east side of the metro, north side of the metro as well. Looking at heavy traffic north and southbound 435 from 35 all the way down to 23rd Street. Also northbound 635 looking heavy from Kansas Avenue down to 35. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back, 96.5 The Fan. Jay Binkley, Rob Britton, Carrington Harrison enjoying his time at Churchill Downs. Going to watch the Kentucky Derby tomorrow. He's there for the prelims today. By the way, the jersey numbers are out now for the Chiefs draft class, so you can head on there and get your jerseys if that's what you want to do. Josh Simmons, number 1 pick, will wear 71. Omar Norman-Lott will wear 55. Ashton Gelati will wear number 97. Noah Williams will wear number 20. Jalen Royals, number 11. I know people are talking, will he rock 85 for 85 world champions? Obviously, you can't do 15 because that's Mahomes. Jeffrey Boston will wear number 31. And Brashard Smith will wear number 30 for the Kansas City Chiefs. Also from the text line, somebody thought City Connects maybe put the saxophones on it. Give a shout out to the Negro League Museum. I think saxophones, it would be weird seeing Mahomes throwing a football with saxophones on his jersey. But, I guess Kansas City would be jazz, barbecue, and fountains if that's the way you want to go. But I don't know if the Chiefs will go that direction. But the rookie class is in for the Chiefs. And some people ask me, all right, who's got more pressure on them? I asked Briscoe, all right, as far as pressure. I mean, you would think some of these guys are going to be rotational. The one real starter that I think can really push for a starting job in St. Joe is Noah Williams, the cornerback out of Cal. He can actually push for that starting role. Maybe Ashton Gelate, if he goes out and has a huge, huge camp, maybe I could see more of a rotation basis with him, even though he can play 3 downs. Omar Norman Lott, the defensive tackle out of Tennessee, they got in the second round. See more rotation with him. And Jalen Royals, going to be fighting for time with Juju Smith-Schuster. I would go Jalen Royals, to be honest with you. Not huge on Juju. Yes, he came back with the Chiefs. Didn't work out in New England. I get that. He put up big numbers, but it was often when there wasn't anybody covering him because they had other people to cover. So hopefully Jalen Royals will push Juju for that spot. But it leads me to believe what kind of pressure will these guys have? Bossa, no pressure, because eventually I think he'll take over for Tranquil in that role. They got him for a while, so he'll be good. Got him for 4 years, not that 5th-year deal like you have with people in the first round. But regardless, Brashard Smith, the running back at SMU, I believe will be on a rotation basis for the Chiefs. Use him in different packages, that's fine. But as far as pressure on this team, yeah, Jalen Royals, the wide receiver, I just don't see it. Like I've seen other pressure in the past. I think there was some pressure on Sky Moore, being the guy when the Chiefs were taking one dart at wide receivers. Yes, they just took one here on Jalen Royals. But Sky didn't live up to expectations. And then there was Rashee Rice. So you take one dot. I remember Rashee Rice was drafted. It was that Friday night in Kansas City. It was Rice and Wanya Morris. That was it. That was 8 out of 10 picks were all on defense, and they were the only 2 on offense. And I thought there was some pressure on Rice to deliver. He did deliver. Second in catches of all rookie wide receivers that year, only behind Puka in yards and receptions. I thought he delivered. Now, this past year, Xavier Worthy thinking, there's not much pressure on you. You are a first-round pick, and there is pressure that comes with the first-round pick because the Chiefs had other choices, but they went Xavier Worthy. Could have gone several directions. They didn't. They went with Xavier, who's undersized, did run a 4.21, but I'll say this. Don't look at just the combine for this dude. Dude's a cerebral guy. You understand why they picked him, a former, academic all-Big 12 guy. He did lead Texas in yards and receptions for 3 years. 2 of the 3 years, he led them in touchdowns. So the guy is more than just a trick down the field, 9-route type of guy. He's much more than that. But the pressure did come on him. When all of a sudden Rashee Rice gets hurt in Chargers game early on in the season, when Hollywood Brown's hurt in the first preseason game against Jacksonville, all of a sudden it's like, okay, rookie, you got to step up now for the Chiefs. You got to be that weapon for Patrick Mahomes. You don't want to waste a good year of him. And they won 15 games, ended up going to the Super Bowl, and he got better and better as the year progressed. Remember early in the season, the spacing, as far as getting the ball on the sidelines, maybe not up to par at that point, but he got better and better. Led this team in yards and receptions in the postseason from the wide receiver position, and, of course, the Super Bowl as well, as far as with the Chiefs. So Jalen Royals, not as much pressure because you do have 3 guys ahead of him. Maybe Juju would be ahead of him, too, at this point. We'll see what happens in camp, but I'm expecting good things out of Jalen Royals. But you look at this team, and I think Josh Simmons, the first pick, has got the pressure. Now, it depends on how you want to look at it. You look at it as a value pick for the Chiefs. The fact that, he may not be ready this year. You're not going to see him in the OTAs. Not going to see him in rookie minicamp. His agent says he should be ready by training camp. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm waiting for the press release that says, we're going to wait and hold him out for a couple more weeks, see how he's going. He's got that patellar knee injury, which is difficult. Teams really haven't seen a lot of that in the NFL. ACLs, they know how to fix. It's not an ACL. Patellar tendon, much different. So we'll see how that progresses. But I do think there's pressure there being a blindside protector for Patrick Mahomes. I think left tackle is one of the key positions. Left tackle, edge, shutdown corner, wide receiver. Those are number 1 wide receiver. Those are the 4 top positions outside of quarterback to me. But there is some pressure on that. So when healthy, I do believe Josh Simmons will have pressure. Not only being a blindside protector of Patrick Mahomes, a 3-time Super Bowl MVP, a guy that's either been in the Super Bowl AFC title game every year of his career, you have some pressure. That's natural pressure you have on, especially when you're huddle with guys like Creed Humphrey, top paid in his position, Trey Smith, that's going to be the top paid in his position, and then Kelsey's in that huddle. There's some Hall of Famers in that huddle, in the Mahomes. So there's some pressure that comes with that, but the pressure to succeed, the pressure not anybody come around. Josh Simmons, yes, that was left tackle 1 before the injury. Clearly would have been the first left tackle as a value pick for the Chiefs where he is. But when he's fully healthy, there's no other way to look at there's going to be pressure on Josh Simmons. In the Super Bowl, the Chiefs have had a rotating group each Super Bowl that they've been in as far as left tackle. But, yes, Josh Simmons will have that pressure on him as far as rookies are concerned. And, yeah, I'm going into it with the mindset, well, he may or may not be ready this season. Okay. I didn't think the Chiefs were in a position to redshirt anybody, to be honest with you. I mean, if you watch that Super Bowl, you understand this left side of this line is downgraded. There's no other way to look at it. Joe Tooney's gone. That was the best left guard in football. Didn't work out as far as tackles concerned when it came to the Super Bowl. He's got shorter arms, but the left side of the line is questionable. So Josh Simmons would be the easy answer for most pressure. I just don't see a ton of pressure on any of these other rookies. I just don't see a ton of pressure for any of these guys to perform. They're actually in a really good spot, to be honest with you.
I mean, I think in a weird way, a positive way for the Chiefs, I don't think any rookie carries a lot of pressure on this team. And it's kind of something we talked about on the show, the fact that they went into the draft, they had needs, and you would have liked to walk away with day one starters. But if they didn't, they were in an okay spot. They have Jalen Moore start left tackles. So there's very little pressure on.
As long as they're healthy, we're good. As long as you're healthy, you're good.
Obviously, can never health changes everything, but you can't, prepare. You can be prepared for health, but you can't, worry about health. If that makes sense. I don't know they have a single starter right now from the draft class, and if you don't have any starters, you don't have anyone carrying any pressure at all. It's a lot of redshirt and learn. Like Brashard Smith might be running back number 4. Jalen Royals might be wide receiver number 5. Like Noel Williams, who me and you both really like, is cornerback number 4. I mean, Omar Norman Lott's the guy that I think is the closest to being a full-time starter. I also think he's the most likely to bust out, but that's not be a bust.
He'll be a rotational piece, I think.
But even then, that's not like a true starter. So the Chiefs have a rookie class that I think can kind of walk in and learn. They don't have any pressure to succeed where there is a glaring need. Hey, we need you to come in and do this, like there was with Rashee Rice, or there was a lot with Sky Moore. We need you to come in and hit the ground running. I don't think they need any of these guys to hit the ground running. They'd like them to, and if they bump someone out of their job, party on Wayne. Like if Noel Williams makes Jalen Watson the nickelback, I don't think Chiefs fans are going to be upset by that development, but I don't think they have to have Noel Williams starting on week 1. I don't think there's much pressure on any of these rookies.
No, there's not. There is pressure, I would say, on Jalen Moore. He comes in as a free agent. Obviously, he's picked in the 5th round. He played with Sky Moore at Western Michigan. There'll be some pressure there because he's got Josh Simmons looking over his shoulders. So is John Taylor, to be honest with you, because Josh Simmons has played right tackle. And there's like Alt. John Alt from the Chargers was left tackle at Notre Dame, plays right tackle, very good right tackle for the Chargers. You understand why he's a first-round pick. But, yeah, Juwan, you got to look around if Simmons is ready, because he does have right tackle experience when he's at San Diego State, and clearly you don't want to make a right tackle your selection at the end of the first, but there is a lot of right tackles taken at that point because the good left tackles go a lot earlier. I think when healthy, Simmons will have that pressure because he's got to be. He's that guy. He's the guy they said, okay, you're the answer we're drafting to put on this offensive line. I mean, you have other guys on the line that are all pros and Pro Bowlers, and Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. There's naturally going to be some pressure that comes with that. You have a head coach that cut his teeth as an offensive line coach in Andy Reid. Andy Hex here. There's a tradition here to uphold with Kansas City. But if you watch the Super Bowl, you understand they've got some problems as far as tackles concerned. I think Josh Simmons will have pressure to show up because I think if he doesn't play, and granted, you got to take that as the expectation. Maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. But I will think there will be some in the camp if he doesn't play, like, oh, man, here we go again, wasted pick. I hope that's not the attitude because, again, I think he'll be with them in the future. Now, you hope he pans out. There's a lot of expectations, I do believe, on Josh Simmons because they could have gone a lot of different ways. And trust me, people are going to be watching what Ursary does in Houston because he's a left tackle out of Kansas City, Ruskin High School. Luther Burden in Chicago, I think people will be watching him because Luther Burden was available for the Chiefs to draft in the spot where Josh Simmons was taken. So, yeah, there's going to be other players people look at. But Josh Simmons is a need. It was kind of an easy need for people to pick left tackle for position. But outside of him, there really wasn't left tackle to grab for the Chiefs because they took a chance on him. It's not 100% guaranteed he's going to be ready to go in training camp. You would hope he is. You would hope he progresses. But right now he's squatting 225, can do much more than that, but he's kind of acclimating himself back into lifting weights. But I did find that is interesting. Also, I saw NFL.com, and I guess this is good for the Chiefs that they weren't on this list, but they put top spots for Amari Cooper, where he could end up. And you would think the easy one to be would throw the Chiefs. So maybe it's cool the Chiefs aren't looked upon this way. Dallas Cowboys were on here, Arizona Cardinals, the Saints, the Eagles, the Raiders, the Jets, and Bills for spots maybe for Amari Cooper, but not the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs would go that direction. They had their chances. Didn't see Amari Cooper being a fit in Kansas City, but it's good not seeing Kansas City on this list. But does that mean they're set? There's a lot of people think they're set at wide receiver. I'm not one of them. I wanted to see them get 2 receivers in this draft. Load up Patrick Mahomes. He's your best commodity. There's nobody on this football team like him. We didn't have a quarterback. Yeah, we had Alex Smith and Trent Green and all these guys, blah, blah, blah. Since Bill Kenny, you name it, since Len Dawson, but a whole lot of what ifs since Len Dawson, Hall of Famer Len Dawson. Went many years without one. Yeah, Alex Smith got you so far, but Patrick Mahomes kicked the door in, man. You have Super Bowl parties to watch Chiefs now because of that dude. Doesn't matter who you have on offense, that dude gets the job done. So I'm in the camp of giving him weapons. You're never going to have a quarterback like this again. Keep feeding the beast. Give him weapons. If you want to say Josh Simmons is a weapon, so be it. He better be healthy. But Jalen Royals in the 4th round, okay. But I want to see Mahomes get weapon after weapon. And would I have liked the best slot receiver in the draft in Luther Burden? Yeah. I would have liked that fit for Patrick Mahomes. You better hope Hollywood Brown stays healthy. You better hope Rashee Rice stays healthy. And again, they look good on paper. Chiefs receivers look good on paper. They did last year too. Oh, then all of a sudden, Hollywood Brown's gone for basically the season. Did come back and have 9 catches at the end. But the first play of that Jacksonville game that he got the ball, done. Rashee Rice gets hurt in a fluke deal against the Chargers, gone for the year. Now, he's coming back from an injury. Don't forget that. Plus, there's a suspension that could be looming for Rashee Rice. So it is going to give other opportunities to other wide receivers. That's just the way it is. So then you better hope Worthy stays healthy. And he has been for most of his career. In Texas, he was healthy. He's been healthy here, but he is undersized in the NFL. You never know. I'm saying you never know with injuries. But can you deal with your 1 and 2 out like they did last year? It shows the power of the quarterback and what he has. But I got tired of 1-score games. Yeah, they won them, but get tired of them. Want to see them put a team away. Don't want to sweat out the end of the game. Just put a team away. They have the ability to do it. Last year in St. Joe, it was bombs away, man. It was the X videos of Worthy, of Hollywood Brown, catching these bombs, Rashee Rice doing the dirty work, catching these long passes, yards after catch for the Chiefs, and then they were forced to be a different team, which credit Andy Reid and company for being a different team when the season began and being the team that you had to be, which they did. They did to a tune of 15 wins, and they got to the Super Bowl, ran out of power there against the Eagles in the end in the Super Bowl. But I'm for adding wide receivers. Yeah, you can look at them on paper and say, they're good 1 through 3. Are they? Can you withstand injuries? I mean, you don't have Justin Watson, who wasn't that good. He's with the Texans now to throw in at the end. You got to count on another rookie in Jalen Royals. The other injuries say, rookie, step up. Who did leave last season, didn't come back with the injury at Utah State. There's a lot hinging upon the health of Rashee Rice. A lot hinging on the health of Hollywood Brown. Can they facilitate? Can they be the guys to get the job done? Because if you're wanting to put all the pressure on Patrick Mahomes, he's dealt with that before and he's done with it. Dealt with it, but he's 29 years old. I just keep giving the dude weapons, man. Having weapons is not a bad thing. Tom Brady in his career, yeah, he never won a ring with Randy Moss, but they brought Randy Moss in, had some great years. Took some pressure off Tom Brady. You have good receivers to throw to. Peyton Manning always had Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison in Indy. Oh, and Dallas Clark as well. Oh, and Brandon Stokely as well. Then when he went to Denver, had good receivers. Then he had a great defense when they won their last Super Bowl with Manning. But I'm for just adding different wide receivers. I'm not, I guess, 100% sold on the wide receiver group as it is. On paper, they look good. But you know what? This game's not played on paper, Rob. Did we expect Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice to get hurt? No, we didn't. But they did. That's the NFL.
I mean, I think you can. It's safe to assume at one point this season that Hollywood Brown will be hurt. his football reference card tells you he's maybe not the freak accident injury he had last year,
but he's always missing games.
He's not a 17-game-a-guy season.
No.
So when you say, did we bet on that? No one anticipated the injury he had. But I think going into any season saying Hollywood Brown, let's pencil him in for 17 games is a foolish daring, because he's done that once in his NFL career. He's a guy who has battled injury his entire NFL career. So I think it's fair to say, yeah, we didn't bet on it, but we also kind of anticipated it.
It depends on what you will look at. His rookie year, he played in he started 11 games. Next year, started in 14. The following year, 16, then 10, then 14, then 1. So the track record is Hollywood Brown doesn't play a full season. So you have to count on that, and you have to bank on that, and you have to write that down. And then you're hoping Xavier Worthy doesn't get hurt. And then you're hoping that Rashee Rice doesn't have another freak injury like he did. Freak injuries can happen. And he's got to come back from that still. We still need to see it. And then, of course, there's a suspension coming up as well. So, yeah, it's great they got in Jalen Royals. Would like to see them get another receiver as well, because you can never have enough. Because if your weapon is Patrick Mahomes, you probably don't need to draft as much defense. You should probably keep supplying the beast. Give the beast some more weapons. See what the NFL has to deal with if they have Patrick Mahomes going out there each and every day when he's got viable talent around him. Sure, on paper, it all looks good, but the NFL's not played on paper. Guys get hurt, and they got hurt here last year. Able to get through it because you have Patrick Mahomes. You put all that pressure on his plate. Hey, go out and get the job done. You're Patrick Mahomes. I felt Josh Allen did a great job at this last year in Buffalo. That's why I won MVP. There's not a ton of talent at wide receiver with Buffalo. They lose Diggs. They were fine. Khalil Shakir got the job done. Buffalo found a way to get it done, but there's not a ton of great receivers in Buffalo. And don't let their GM hear me, because he'll probably call in, because he called in Buffalo when they were complaining about their wide receivers, which is a joke because that's the way it is. And it is going to come back to bite them at some point. We come back, though, again, shorter show today because Josh Vernier takes over at 5 o'clock. Royals in Baltimore tonight. Michael Walker on the mound. Royals in Baltimore for 3 before coming home and playing the White Sox. Coming up next, though, we play the hits.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
FanDuel is the first sportsbook app where you can bet the Kentucky Derby. And right now, all customers can get a no-sweat Derby bet. That means you'll get racing bonus back if your bet doesn't win. The app is super easy to use, and you don't have to be a horse racing expert to get in on the Derby Day action. So bet America's #1 race on America's #1 sportsbook app. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/KFNZ for your chance to get a no-sweat bet for the greatest 2 minutes in sports, the Kentucky Derby. That's FanDuel.com/KFNZ. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Verified FD racing account required. Refund issued a non-withdrawable racing site credit that expired 9 days after receipt. Max refund $10 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at racing.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Get out with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
So, your small business is outgrowing your garage. You could go online, find a space, and get catfished. Or you could work with an agent who's a realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
So, your small business is outgrowing your garage. You could go online, find a space, and get catfished. Or you could work with an agent who's a realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
What's up, baseball fans? It's time to swing big on your bets this season. Step up to the plate with an odds boost token from BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. No opt-in is required. Just log into your BetMGM account to receive your odds boost token. Then, place a bet on any MLB game and activate your token. If your boosted bet hits, you'll score a bigger payout, no matter the showdown. BetMGM is your betting home for baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. Must be 21 years of age or older. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 1 to 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
You could think you found your dream home online, but here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You could think you found your dream home online, but here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Car crash southbound 435, the exit to 23rd Street. That is stopping traffic. Also looking at very heavy traffic east and westbound 70 over 435. And seeing that multi-car crash still off to the shoulder, but still slowing things down. The westbound lanes of 70 just past 635, and things are backed up to about 7th Street. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Hey, it's Cole Reagans from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
And welcome back to 96.5 The Fan, home of the Kansas City Royals and Kansas City Chiefs. Michael Walker tonight, Chris Bubich on Saturday. Looks like Michael Lorenzen on Sunday. Possibly Cole Reagans that you heard there on Monday. By the way, Kyle Gibson going for the Orioles on Sunday. Him and his 22.09 ERA in limited action. It's weird thinking Kyle Gibson still in the league, but Josh Vernier comes your way in about 13 minutes with the On Deck Show. For now, we play the hits.
Your workday is over. Oh, yeah. You're headed home, and now you're stuck in traffic. Time to get caught up on the biggest stories in Kansas City and around the country with CDOT and Rob. It's time for the hits. Number one.
Well, Bank as always, hits are brought to you by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Well, it wouldn't be a show with me and you, Bink, if we didn't talk a little draft. And you noticed something the Chiefs pro personnel director Ryan Nutt had to say when evaluating the draft and how the ever-changing landscape of college football has made this a tough year to evaluate talent.
These kids do not stay at one college to develop. They're constantly transferring, right? Because of the idea of, okay, first off, that might be more of an issue with the transfer portal than NIL itself. I'm all for players getting paid. It's when they transfer 3 times in 1 year. When are you getting developed? If you're always in the transfer portal or you're off the field or you're not in a building, that's the thing. So now you're going to get players who are going to come in and they're just less developed based on they're not staying in a program. They're not getting a year's worth of training. They're getting maybe 3-4 months of strength training because they're in the portal or they're gone or they're taking trips. But they're learning different offenses, different coaches. So they're not getting in rhythm there. I think that's the biggest difference. And then for scouting, like, how do you get a good snapshot of a player's personal background and character when they've been at 3 or 4 different schools? You're going to hear a different report from like half the time. They're all going to be different. The last school to have them, it's going to be usually positive because they want their guy drafted and they're going to give you good stuff. And then you might go to the school that he just left from who's angry he left and transferred out, and it might be different. So now you got to kind of piece it together and say what's real and what isn't real. For us right now, it's just development and what kind of kid are you actually getting? Which version of this kid are you going to get?
Bink, we now have the information. It takes longer and there's more evaluation process in the ever-changing college football market. But do you think this could be a good thing as players have played more football, or do we lead ourselves to find more bust in the NFL draft because the evaluation process is much, much more difficult?
I think it could lead to more bust. It's a lot more work for these front offices. Well, they get paid to do it. They just have a lot more work because he's right. When you hit transfer portal 2 and 3 times, all of a sudden you go back to those previous schools. You think, all right, tell me about this guy. Well, they may not give you a glowing recommendation because said player did leave. So the chances are they're not going to say anything great. It's kind of like we see 3- and 4-star guys, decommit from a university. The only thing their fan base says, oh, they sucked anyway. We didn't want them. That's not true. You did want them, and you hate to see them leave. Like all those Tennessee fans don't want to see Nico leave. They're like, oh, he didn't want to be here. He wants to leave. Well, they wasn't even there. But Ryan Nutt made some interesting points. He, by the way, is the Chiefs Director of Player Personnel and College Scouting, which, by the way, had right behind him on a Zoom, he had the state of Ohio on the wall, like Ohio State type thing, if you wonder why Josh Simmons was drafted. I found that interesting. But regardless, it does make it tough for these guys. And I'll use Xavier Restrepo as the example. The guy led Miami in career and catches and yards. They've had good receivers come out of there. He runs the 40 over 4.8. And he ran it his pro day. Had he not ran it and said, just let the film speak for itself, which a lot of guys do, teams might have drafted him in the 2nd or 3rd round. Then all of a sudden got the training camp and go, man, this dude is slow. Why did we spend a pick on that? That could have been dangerous. But you know what? The lesson of Xavier Restrepo will probably be emanating around college football players and agents to say, you know what? You're not so great at the 40. Let's just not run it. Let's not run it, because we saw a lot of that this year. Austin Gentry, that the Raiders took a bet on, didn't run at the Combine, didn't run at the Pro Day, didn't run a lot. Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't the year before, and allegedly teams told him not to do it because the game tape will speak for itself. You wouldn't think that'd be the case, though. You'd want to find out these players and how fast they are and like how good they are. Yeah, it depends on your growing recommendations. Bo Perbula, that's playing for Missouri, as I mentioned, he transferred from Penn State. Although the coach, which usually you don't get glowing recommendations from your previous stop, but he will there because James Franklin liked him. So they'll probably get good reviews on him. But, yes, it makes it tough for NFL teams trying to find out what's real and what's fake. But is this player good or bad? It makes their job so much tougher. And when guys are cherry-picking what they're doing at the Combine or at their pro day, you don't know what they're doing. Carrington Harrison at Churchville Downs. He's wearing the fedora tomorrow. Any more pictures from CDOT tomorrow, maybe?
That's a question for our social media team, but
okay,
I'm betting he might post some.
Hopefully so. Carrington looking good. Rob Brenton, you have a good weekend, my friend. Enjoy your soccer and dark beer this weekend. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to hearing Josh Vernier, Royals on Deck show. Again, the Royals 3 in Baltimore. This team is red hot. They've won 9 of 10. Best ERA, 3 shutouts. All this in the last 10 games. All, by the way, hitting a second Major League best, 288 in that streak. I'm Jay Binkley. Good night, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.